Something like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show, weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
We can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you've already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead and hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've even seen some people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out to share the content, y'all. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we're going to have a very interesting show, very interesting topic, very interesting video link that I put in the description. And for people who would not know, sometimes before you come into a show, you want to check to see if there's a video link. Now, I know there was one link was problematic, so I just removed it, but the main link is still there. Okay. And I'm going to say shout out to the lead attorney. It came from his channel. Okay. So shout out to the lead attorney. A very interesting video that I saw that he went over. Very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. So we're going to deal with it. If you're innocent, why did you run? Because that is a question that a lot of white folks will have. A lot of white supremacists would have. They don't have to necessarily be white. And then sometimes people would just ask, even innocently, not even necessarily with a malice mind frame with it. They just, well, if you're innocent, why do you run? And they actually mean it. They actually mean it. Now, some of them, these are more younger people, a lot of times more naive people. Sometimes it could be an older, naive person. Or sometimes people just blowing smoke up your behind. And it's that simple at the end of the day. So we are going to go, this is a very interesting subject, so we're going to look into it. If you're innocent, why did you run? But before we get into that, let me say shout out to everybody who gives views on a regular basis, because I definitely appreciate all of you all. I mean, technically, the people who give views on a regular basis is the people who the content is being made for. So shout out to all y'all. Also, shout out to shout out to all the folks who leave comments after the stream, because that definitely helps with the algorithm. Appreciate that big time. Appreciate that big time. You know, you're helping the channel be what we want it to be. You know, shout out to all the people who who hype me up every chance they get. Never have a chance to hype up the video and you don't do it. Don't ever do that. You know, if you get a chance, you hype it on up. Okay? And y'all remember, all this stuff, it doesn't make a difference how long the content is up. You do it anyway. Okay? And of course, y'all hit that like button any chance you get. It doesn't make a difference how long it's been up. Heck, the sooner the better. But even if it's something older, you watching something that was done before you even became a part of the fam over here, you still hit that like button, y'all. You still hype it up. You still do everything you can to, you know, spread the word, as they say. All right? Now, shout out. So we have something we have around here for the first person to check in. You know, it's always great when you start a show that you have people checking in. But we, you know, over here, there can only be one. So shout out to the Highlander of today's stream, the Great Black Reset. He is the Highlander of today's stream. Shout out to you, my brother. Shout out to you. Glad to see you in the building. Glad to see you in the building. And I know some folks be saying, well, you know what? I was in there first. Hey, y'all, I don't control what the system does. Sometimes you come too early, it ain't going to put you as first. Okay, I'm going to see something different. I can only go with what I see. I can only go with what I see. All right, shout out to my main man, Trail Billy. Trail Billy is here representing as he always does. Hashtag long live the habitual line steppers. Hashtag Negroes in the wilderness. Hashtag dignity over vagina. Hashtag Al Gore's babies. Hashtag Hydra. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. My main man, Tunnel Runner, is here. Good to see you. Good to see you. We got the righteous teacher in the building. Always good to see you, brother. Always good to see you. The pit master himself is here. One of our favorite people over here at the Roger Report Live. Our main man, Chef Mike's Roundtable, is in the building. Good to have you, brother. Good to have you. We also have my main man, Hero for Hire, is checked in. Good to see you. Good to see you. Bruce on Wayne is also at the cool table. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. Afro Merchant is in the building. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And y'all, we about to get into this. If you're innocent, why did you run? And sometimes things like this need to be examined, y'all. Things like this sometimes just need to be examined. If you're innocent, why did you run? Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. Real talk. As a black man who grew up here in America, who wasn't only subjected to the stories or only subjected to a narrative, a person who only saw it on TV, now a person who literally grew up in this country, if you ask me why a black man would run from police, okay, in any scenario, I'm going to say you naive. It's that simple at the end of the day. You know, that's the best I can say for you. You are naive. All right? You are naive. You're very much naive. And that's me being polite. Okay? That's me being polite. If you ask me why a black man ran from the police, okay, especially even if you mean it innocently, man. I mean, even if you don't mean it innocently, the best I can say for you, you are an extremely naive person. Because either you dumb enough to believe there is no reason for a black man to run from a random police officer, or you dumb enough to believe that you're talking to a man who's going to agree with you that there is no non-apparent, you know, where there's a quote-unquote non-apparent reason to run from a police officer. The reason you run is because he's a police officer. That's why you run. You're stupid, okay? That's what I really believe. I may not say it to you, Okay, I may not say it to you, but if you start asking why black men run from police, I to me you automatically go into the stupid category. Now you got to dig your way out that category. I'm gonna start with you, stupid. That's where I'm starting. Okay, you know, and don't get it twisted, y'all. I don't know how many people out there who may have said, if they're innocent, why did they run? Or talking to an individual, if you innocent, why you run? I mean, lawyers could have said this, judges could have said this, productive people in society could have said this. I mean, at the end of the day, y'all, stupidity is a choice. I didn't say that already. Okay. I didn't say that already. I don't care who you are. If you understand American culture and you're asking why did a black man run from the police, you slow. Okay. Now, who can I give a pass to? If you are like a foreigner who just came over, you don't really get it. I understand that. Okay. I get that. If you don't live in America, I get why you would ask. Cool, cool, cool. But if you born here, you raised here, you done spent a good amount of years in this country. Don't let you have become an adult. If you an adult in America and you still acting something that stupid, you slow. And that's just real talk. Okay? That's just real talk. Now, I don't mean anything negative to anybody that's gonna fit under. You may be a very brilliant person in all areas of your life besides this, but you slow in this area. If you've grown up in America and you asking why a black man would run from police. Now, I'm gonna say this, y'all. Very interesting story that we saw. Very interesting video footage. Very interesting commentary. Okay. I'm gonna say shout out to the lead attorney. Okay. It was just interesting altogether. Now, in the video, you had a black man that was scared of the police. If you don't understand why you're scared, there is something wrong with you. I'm gonna say that there is something wrong if you don't understand why you're scared. Okay. Now, there's room to speculate on things, and we have some information on certain things. Okay. Now, I'm gonna say this, y'all. Being realistic, and see, we got the end information. You know what I'm saying? We know how it concluded as we watch the video. When things like this happen, you don't know how things are going to conclude. Okay, you just a person that's in the moment, and you got to deal with what the moment is. Now, I'm gonna say, as a black man, he could have handled this way better than what he did. I'm gonna give him that. Anybody who want to say that, yeah, he could have handled it better than what he did. He definitely could have handled it better than what he did. Okay. Now, the police seemed okay. I'm gonna say that the police seemed okay. Because I know people gonna say, well, these particular officers seem to be somewhat respectful and things like that, and they wasn't like cursing at them or yelling at them or anything. They seemed like they was okay. Yeah, that don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing. See, when a man is having a reaction to police officers like that, their reaction is not based on the individuals that happen to be there. He is reacting from things that have happened in his personal past or things that he's seen that have happened to other people. So he's responding to things he know that has happened to people in the past, whether it was him included or just people he saw on the internet or TV. What does he understand? He understands if police can get you out the car as a black man, you may never get in that car again. He gets that part. Okay. He may not be as savvy as other people. He may not have the criminal experience as other people. Heck, maybe he one of those lucky black men that don't have to deal with the police too much. But this is a particular case where he had to deal with the police. And see, a lot of us, we don't think about it from the gentleman who's behind the wheel, whoever's in that position. We don't think about it from their side. That could be a person who don't deal with police contact very much. You know what? And shout out to every black man who hasn't had to deal with police contact very much, because I know I've had to deal with it. Okay, so I think about things in a little bit different way, but that comes with having some experience with police contact, and then learning what happens to other people when they have experience with police contact. But every black man is not a man who's had a lot of police contact. He don't know what to do, or he's going to be, quote unquote, naive in these situations. So the way he's going to react would be much different. Now, I would have reacted totally different than he reacted, but I definitely understand his reaction. Okay, and I get it. People are gonna say, "Well, see, if you're not using intelligence, you just gonna brush past it, because at the end he was charged with stuff." And you're gonna say, "Well, look what he was charged with." I understand all that. But when you're the person in the moment, you got to look at it from the moment's perspective. Did the guy have something on him? Yes, he did have some marijuana on him. Okay. And because he was charged with it, we understand, okay, it's illegal in that particular state. But what is the man reacting to? He's reacting to the reality that if you don't get caught doing anything, and the police can get you out the car, this ain't gonna be good for you. Now, regardless of what anyone says, realistically, y'all, you got to think about it. You driving somewhere, marijuana is not legal for you to have the way he has it, because it's different rules about in certain places about what marijuana you can have, how you can have it, and things like that. You got an illegal portion of marijuana, so I'm gonna put it like that, okay? So we can fit it to wherever you happen to be. All right, you have an illegal portion of marijuana. The police have pulled you over. All right, do you want to get out that vehicle? I'm gonna say no. You don't want to get out that vehicle. All right, you don't want to get out that vehicle. All right. Now, when the police talk to him, unfortunately for him, there was an open bottle of alcohol. Now, if you look at the video, seems pretty clear to me that somebody had some alcohol earlier that day. It could have been him, it could have been somebody else, but they left some form of bottle on the seat, or where it's in plain view, possibly on the floor, but still in plain view. Now, the thing is, even if someone left that in plain view, which clearly happened, the man was not pulled over because of alcohol being in the back seat. That's not why he was pulled over. Okay? That was something the cops saw when they were already there. All right? And that did make the situation worse for him. Now, since they saw the open bottle, what did they say? They said, since we see an open bottle, maybe we're gonna give you a quote unquote field sobriety test. Now, is that a bad thing? No, I'm not gonna say that's a bad thing. The police want to give a field sobriety test to a person with a open alcohol container. That sounds reasonable to me. I'm gonna say that, y'all. That still sounds reasonable to me. You're operating a motor vehicle. You got an open bottle of alcohol in there. Or I mean, it could have been a can. Who knows what it actually was? Okay, but you are operating a vehicle. Did you put the police in position to investigate that? Yes, you did. Which is why I say, if you know you're going to get in the car and drive, you need to make sure your car's good to go. You never give police reason to do more investigating when it comes to you. Always check your vehicle, y'all. Check your vehicle. All right? I'm just saying, check your vehicle. Now, if you drive professionally, this is something, and y'all ask any truck driver, you're supposed to, quote unquote, inspect your vehicle every time you get in. Okay? Every time you get in, you inspect your vehicle. So I'm going to say they did catch this man slipping because he didn't inspect his vehicle. And I understand, y'all, sometimes we moving real quick. We pop in, we pop out. I get all that. But at the end of the day, it ain't about what you do. It's about what you get caught doing. Okay, a lot of these situations come up because it's about what you get caught doing. And for a person like himself who clearly does not want to deal with police contact, you got to keep it to a minimum, man. You can't have police walk up to your vehicle and see an open bottle of alcohol. Okay, and that could have been in there last week. Could have been there from yesterday or 2 days ago when all this occurred. Inspect your vehicle, y'all. Inspect your vehicle. Don't be driving around with no busted tail light and you don't know your tail light busted. You know? Now, if you know your tail light busted, see, now you understand why they pulling you over. Okay, they finna pull me over. They just finna ask me about this busted tail light. We're gonna be able to get through this, probably get a ticket at the most, and get this over with. But you don't want to be in a position where police are asking you about stuff that you are not aware of. That's a bad position to be in. Okay? Because number one, you ain't supposed to talk to them anyway. Police pull you over, you want to talk to them as little as possible, and you want to really answer no questions. Because there's nothing they're going to do at that police stop to help you. Everything they do on that police stop is going to be to hurt you. Okay? Because even if they're doing a legitimate stop, because what's the goal of stopping a black man who's driving a car? The goal is to give you a ticket. I mean, do you want to pay a ticket? Do you want to pay a ticket? But that's what the goal is. It could be to give you a ticket. It could be to take you to jail. It could be to kill you. Or it could be to beat the brakes off you. Let's think about this realistically, y'all. I am not saying every cop is a bad cop. But every cop who pulls someone over has a goal. What's the goal of them pulling you over? You got to think about that. What is the goal of them pulling you over? I'm going to kill you? No, that could be the goal. The goal could be I'm going to take my frustrations out and you're a good person for me to do it on, and I'm going to beat the brakes off you. I'm not saying it's legal. I'm just saying what the goal is going to be. Now, if it's not to kill you and it's not to beat the brakes off you, then what else could it be? Well, they may want to take you to jail. Okay? Maybe they just think they're going to have a reason that will present itself to take you to jail. Maybe they believe you got a warrant on you. But the goal is to get you to go to jail. And if that ain't the goal, the only thing left is to give you a ticket. So none of those options are good for you. So why do we want to participate in any of these things? I don't want to participate in nothing like that. Now, I could be dead wrong. I don't want no ticket. All right? And if I know I'm dead wrong, I know I'm going to do less talking then because I'm already wrong. And I've told y'all before, I'm going to play the role. I get pulled over and I know something wrong. It's yes, sir, no, sir, all day long. Okay? I'm doing everything I can to get them to say, man, let's just get this dude a warning and walk off. Okay? Because I don't even want the ticket. I don't care what the ticket is. I don't want the ticket either because I don't want to pay the ticket. I ain't said I won't pay the ticket, but I don't want to pay the ticket. So I'm doing everything I can. So they just let me off the hook. And as a black man, I know them just let me off the hook. My chances are next to none. I do get that, but that does not mean I'm not going to play that role. Okay? Now, I'm not going to do something where I got to give up my dignity and respect. But other than that, I'm going to do that little shuffle. Yes, sir. No, sir. Sorry about that, sir. I wasn't aware of that, sir. I'm truly surprised, sir. I don't know how I missed that. I'll get it taken care of tomorrow, sir. I'm going to say something to try to get myself out of that situation. Now, I'm not saying it work every time. So don't be listening to Roger Ford thinking I'm telling you just saying yes, sir, no, sir, and all this stuff is going to get you out of it. That is no guarantee they're going to let you off the hook. But you can increase your chances off the hook by playing that role. Okay? And if you ain't got to give up your dignity to play the role, why not play the role? It may work, it may not work, y'all. There's definitely been times it has not worked. You know? But even if it don't work, I'm just trying to leave it to a ticket and nothing else. Because I don't want to get out the car either. I do understand that once you get out of a car, things change. The stats change, with people who are in the car versus people who are out the car. And if I'm doing something illegal at the time, like in this particular person's case, because remember, he's carrying an illegal amount of marijuana. We do know that because we know the outcome. Well, I don't want to get out the car either. Now, unfortunately for him, he didn't know how to handle that. And I'm going to say, y'all, I honestly believe he's a little naive when it comes to police stops. I'm going to say that. A lot of people may look at him and say, well, see, he probably a jailbird or whatever the case is. We put these things on people that don't necessarily fit. And I get it. We got to speculate when we don't know. But this man may not have a lot of police contact experience. Now, I'm going to say I have more police contact experience for an innocent person, than some guilty people. And that's just keeping it real. Okay, I got way more police contact than I should have. So you got to start to learn the game out here. And this guy may just not have had that much police contact. Now, am I making an excuse for the man? No, I'm just saying based on how he was moving, he don't move like a person who's an expert in police contact. I'm going to say that. He don't move like somebody who really know what's going down. Now, maybe that's the way he wanted to come off, but he don't move like a man who's truly experienced in police contact. Now, whether he had marijuana or not, okay, should he have cooperated? Just kind of depends. What was the marijuana? Because he may have tried to move it or do something with it, but was unsuccessful positioning the marijuana the way he wanted to when the time came. He may not have been successful. If you've been doing something wrong or you had something wrong with you, okay? This is the thing. You can't move it as quick as you wanted to. You start thinking of places to put it. You don't make a decision. Next thing you know, unfortunately for you, they already at the window. You can't show it then. So now you're in a stuck position. All right. Now you're in a stuck position. And if you get caught in that stuck position at the wrong time, now you just got it right there. And if you cooperate, it's now obvious. Okay. It's now obvious. Now, I think based on what I saw, I do honestly believe that he only had marijuana on him. I do believe that. That's why I say I don't think I would have handled it the way he handled it. He handled it like a guy who had an illegal gun on him. Now I'm gonna say if he did have an illegal gun, he was somewhat smart if he had something really illegal on. Now I don't think he had an illegal gun on, because if you didn't get rid of the gun, if you got rid of the gun, what we turned out to be an eventual chase, but you kept the marijuana, that just wasn't smart. I would have got rid of the marijuana too. That's why I don't think he had like an illegal firearm on him. Now, if he had an illegal firearm on him and he drugged the police on his chase, but he got rid of that firearm and didn't get caught with him, Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to say this, y'all. Based on the information we have right now, okay? Based on the information we have right now, it seems like the police were doing something that is called phishing. Phishing is an activity that police officers will do because they will pull you over and just hope something's wrong. And they hope they find a way to either take you to jail or give you a ticket. Based on the information we got right now, I totally believe that's what the police were doing. They were phishing. And the thing is, because this guy who may be naive when it comes to police stops, because they were phishing and he kind of got caught up in it, now he's in a situation where everybody looking at him like, oh, you just stupid for running. How do y'all know they weren't going to kill this man? Now, I'm not saying that's what they were really going to do, because they did come off as, quote unquote, respectful police officers and all that, at that particular point. That's the way they came off. So I'm not saying they were going to kill him, but these are professionals at the end of the day. Their very intent may have been to kill him. And the only reason they didn't kill him is because he said it on their cameras. That might be the only reason they didn't kill him. Because now when you think about it, y'all, what they charge him with? Failure to comply with orders of a police officer, right? Where did that failure come from? They had already pulled him over and he wouldn't get out the vehicle. So, okay, cool. He did fail to comply with police orders. He definitely did that. We saw it on the video. Okay. Obstructing of official business. You can somewhat say he's obstructing because you can say because he didn't cooperate, he was obstructing. You can say that. I get it. Okay. I understand that part. I definitely get that. Now, possession of drugs. They caught him with the marijuana. Not a real mystery there. Not a real mystery there at all. Think about that, y'all. No real mystery there. He had the marijuana on him when they finally tracked him down. And keep in mind, y'all, this is a guy who did evade him at least for a while. There was a time frame where they had no clue who this man was. But he didn't get rid of the marijuana. So I'm going to say this is not the quote-unquote savvy criminal. This leads me to believe he's not a savvy criminal. He's just a guy who's doing something that he, quote unquote, ain't had no business doing at the time. He had some marijuana on. This ain't a savvy criminal, because a savvy criminal would have got rid of that marijuana while he had been in position where the police didn't know where he was. He had plenty of opportunity to get rid of that marijuana because they did not know where he was. He literally lost it momentarily. So my thing is, if you had a gun on you, which I don't believe he did, because he would have got rid of the marijuana had he gotten rid of the gun. You don't keep the marijuana even though you get rid of the gun. That's silly. You get rid of them both because you lost these jokers. Get on up out of there. And y'all, what was the last thing he was charged for? According to this information that we were given, an open container of liquor. So he getting charged for having all these different things. And I understand, y'all. I understand a lot of people, when you saw that video, you heard that commentary, it made sense to you because he ended up getting charged. I get that it made sense to you. And I'm going to say, look, y'all, I am not saying anything negative about the lead attorney. He is a lawyer. He seems to be a person who's a lot of experience. It seems like he was an extremely good lawyer based on what I can tell about him. I'm definitely, shout him out as one of the good ones, or a great person to listen to. He is an experienced lawyer. He knows what he's doing based on what I can tell. Okay. The type of stuff I've heard him say in the past, man seems to be a brilliant man. He does. Okay? That don't mean I'm gonna agree with somebody though. That don't necessarily mean I'm gonna agree. On most things he say, I probably would agree. Okay? I'm not gonna even say he was quote unquote too wrong based on what he's looking at in this particular video. But what I am gonna say is this is fishing, y'all. That's what I am gonna say. What a lot of people do when they brush off certain stuff, and I'm not saying he was, but I'm saying I understand people gonna watch that video and people are gonna brush off the most important thing that's going on in these situations. And that is, why did he get pulled over? I don't have to argue if the marijuana is illegal or not. I can accept where he was, he had an illegal amount of marijuana. I can accept that he was obstructing because he was not cooperating. I can accept that he was not following police commands. Okay. And I can accept that he had an open bottle of alcohol in the vehicle. And that's why I say the man who got caught up in this, he's a little naive when it comes to police contact. Now, how do I know he's naive? Because I didn't hear him ask one time, why did you pull me over? You get you a good lawyer, this whole thing thrown out, y'all. See, going to jail starts to create problems that you may not really be able to solve. Okay? Shout out to all my hoes to monetize, Joe. You got me chuckling every time I look down at your comment. I'm just gonna say that. But this is the thing, y'all. Why they pull that man over? Because what I know he didn't do was get pulled over for obstruction. I know he wasn't pulled over for obstruction. I know he wasn't pulled over for failure to follow a police command. I know that. Okay. I also know he wasn't pulled over for possession of marijuana. See, this is stuff that came after the fact. Okay. This is stuff that came after the fact. All right. So why they pull him over? They didn't pull him over because he had an open bottle of alcohol. Now, I understand people gonna look at the guy and say he acting shady, he acting nervous. I ain't saying he wasn't. He probably was nervous. Again, he might be a black man who was lucky enough to live his whole life and not really have police contact. And he made it plain. I'm worried about dying. When the man say I'm worried about dying, you know, you got to take that in consideration at least a little bit. At least a little bit. Okay? You know? Why is he worried about dying? Because he may literally be a black man who don't have a whole lot of police contact. And guess what? He watch on the internet and he see people get beat up and killed because they happen to be black. Now, let's say you grew up in this country, y'all, like I believe he did. We hear how he's speaking. You don't really hear no accent that would suggest he's foreign. Sound like he born and raised right here. Okay? He a grown man. You think he ain't seen newspapers where being black ain't got somebody killed? You think he ain't seen news broadcasts where being black hasn't gotten somebody killed? Y'all think he ain't seen stuff on the internet where being black has gotten somebody killed? And when you start thinking about killings, you think about police, you think about people dying for no reason. What should form in your head at that particular point? you will start to get a pattern of black male images, boys and men who've been killed. Okay. And a lot of times these killings will include police custody. Now you're exposed to what you're exposed to. Everyone's exposure is a little bit different. But y'all believe that he has made it to the age he's made it to? And it ain't already been put in his head that if you're a black man and you get arrested by the police and you get out that vehicle, the chances of you dying greatly increase. Now, I don't want that to happen to anybody. I don't want that to happen to anybody at all. Okay? But I totally understand his perspective, y'all. I totally understand his perspective. Think about it, y'all. Put yourself in his position for a moment. Just put yourself in his position. You're driving down the street. You're minding your own business. You're not doing anything wrong. So you're a quote unquote innocent man, and all of a sudden the lights get turned on. You hear the siren. You ain't doing nothing but minding your business. Okay? The police are now pulling you over. They clearly did not have a reason to pull you over. What do you think about to happen? Okay. What do you think is about to happen? Keep in mind, you a black man. You rolling down the street. You ain't causing no trouble. But the police got the lights on you, man. They want you to pull over. They're questioning you at a window. They're not talking about why they pulled you over at all. They just want to know who you are. We want a license. We want some registration. Oh, look at this here. Look at this here. He got an open bottle of alcohol back there. We got an open bottle of alcohol. Now, what we gonna do about this? What we gonna do about this? Now, I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna guess that most of y'all, if y'all actually looked at the video, you heard what was said on the video. I don't think y'all even heard the threat. They threatened this dude, y'all. I don't think y'all heard it. Did y'all hear it? Is there anyone listening who actually heard the threat? They threatened his life. Did y'all hear it? I know for some folks it's difficult to hear how they threaten his life. But see, me, I can put myself in his position. I can remember times that I've been driving a car. Okay? I can remember times I've been driving a car and the police got behind me and turned on the lights to make me pull over. And there was nothing wrong. I done been there, done that already. Okay? So because I've been there and done that already, I'm looking for something to understand why are we talking as a citizen and as a police officer. Why are we even having a conversation? That's the first thing I'm looking for. Now, am I saying that the stuff that he was charged with is kind of crazy? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you get you a good lawyer, you beat all that easy. Why? Because why are they even talking? Why are we having police contact? See, I'm saying this, y'all, because as black men, we need to really start talking about, you got to make sense of police contact in the first place. Okay? Shout out to Mr. Me Too. He said, step out of the car is a threat to me. Well, you know what? Once you step out of a vehicle, it can get worse. That's all I can say. That's what I'm going to tell you on that one. I'm going to say, y'all, the threat to me was being pulled over without probable cause. If you pull me over without probable cause, You are literally threatening me. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people don't really get that. Why are you pulling me over without probable cause? Now, notice, I didn't say police just can't randomly pull people over. There's people who will be out there and they'll give probable cause. But if a police officer pulls you over without probable cause, let's keep it real, y'all. Is the goal to take you to jail? It could be, but not necessarily, because they did not have probable cause. Is the goal to give you a ticket? Not necessarily, because they did not have probable cause. Is the goal to beat the brakes off you? More than likely, yes, because they didn't have probable cause. Is the goal to kill you? More than likely, yes, because they did not have probable cause. Now, I understand, and I would bet money that while y'all looked at this video and you watched the video, a lot of y'all looked at this and y'all were looking at the guy like, man, he doing too much. He need to relax. He need to chill. How are you supposed to act when somebody pulls you over without probable cause? And you know good and well, if they kill you or beat the heck out you, then more than likely they can get away with it. And let's keep it real, y'all. Had something happened to this man that's worse than what has already happened to him, what people gonna do? Well, he did have some marijuana on. Because I think most of the people who saw this video literally brushed it off. Well, he did have some marijuana on him. That's why he acting that way. He keeps talking about I think that y'all gonna do something to me. Why would he not think that, y'all? See, we got to really think about how we look at police situations. Why would a man who was pulled over for no reason believe that they ain't trying to kill him? Would he be the first black man who was pulled over for no reason that was killed? No, he wouldn't be. Will he be the last black man who was pulled over for no reason that was killed? Of course not. I know why people get pulled over by police, y'all. I done made that very clear. I've done this in the past, and I'm saying it again to really give some clarity behind that situation. You pull people over so you can give them a ticket. You pull people over so you can take them to jail. You pull people over so you can beat the brakes off of them. Or you pull people over to kill them. That's why you do it. And when you pull somebody over without probable cause, the chances they're going to beat the heck out you or they're going to kill you increases. So I get it. He acting a little funny. He's quote unquote escalating the situation. Okay, I get it. I understand why people come to those conclusions. But I got to look at it from a real world perspective. From a real world perspective, anytime somebody's pulling me over without a probable cause, they probably trying to kill me. That's the most likely conclusion that I'm going to come to. You pull me over and you had no reason to do it. You probably want me dead. I understand that because when you think about all the news story you probably saw, all the newspapers you've read, the articles in there, it's easy to draw the conclusion that if police make illegal contact with citizens that happen to be men that are black, you may not make it home that night. Now, y'all can look at him and say, yeah, he crazy. Well, why he run? He might want to stay alive. And people will say, well, they got body cams now. How many times have police did something to somebody and they quote unquote cameras wasn't working at that time? Or their cameras stopped working during the incident? I done heard about plenty of times that cameras didn't work. It just wasn't on that day. Unfortunately, I forgot to turn it on when I was getting out the vehicle to make contact with the citizen. Camera footage go missing on a regular basis when it comes to police. Okay? Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of good officers out there who run their cameras when they supposed to. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of good officers who run their cameras when they are supposed to. I am not even suggesting that the guys in this particular situation would do stuff where they don't run their cameras when they aren't supposed to. But if I had to suspect people who would turn their cameras off when they know they finna get into some stuff, yeah, I could throw it off on them. Even though they don't come off that way, I got to look at the fact that they did pull somebody over for no reason. Y'all, we saw what he got charged with, right? Did anybody see the charge that was connected to them pulling him over in the first place? Did y'all notice that charge? Because I didn't notice that charge. Failure to cooperate? Well, he pulled over, so it couldn't be that one. Obstructing? Well, the guy did run. That's obstructing. So, okay, so I get where that came from, but that's not a reason to pull somebody over. Okay? Open container of alcohol, you didn't even see that. You pulled me over before you saw the open container of alcohol. So I know that ain't the problem. Okay, I know that ain't the problem. So y'all, did anybody watch that video and ask themselves, if they weren't trying to kill him, what were they doing? Did anybody ask that? Because the other charge was possession of marijuana. You didn't pull him over for marijuana. Okay. Now, shout out to Afro Merch. He says, sorry, I didn't finish my homework. What they charged him with? The charges that I just read off, those were the charges. Failure to comply with the police officer, which he did after he was pulled over. Obstructing official police business, which was done after he was pulled over. Possession of drugs, which they found out after he was pulled over. And he had an open container of alcohol in the car, which was found out after he was pulled over. Now, the guy is saying to them straight up, look, I think y'all trying to kill me. I'm trying to figure out why wouldn't he think that? If somebody pulls you over and you got nothing wrong with your vehicle, you're not driving crazy or erratically, and they just pull you over anyway, why isn't it fair to come to the conclusion they're trying to kill you? And see, this is the thing, y'all. The police tried to act like that's something that shouldn't be taken into consideration. And I'm pretty sure, because I understand human behavior too, when people look at the footage and the police are acting like it shouldn't be taken in consideration, it tends to make other people act like it shouldn't be taken in consideration. When I watch the video, the first thing I look for is why they pulled him over. And it never came up. So now that I watched the video and it never came up of why they pulled him over, why am I supposed to think they wasn't trying to kill him? Now, he just saying it out loud. If he never said it out loud, again, why would I think they're not trying to kill him? Why would you pull over somebody as a police officer that you're not trying to kill? And there's no probable cause. See, I understand pulling somebody over with a probable cause. I totally get that. I think that's totally legitimate. That's why when I drive, I try to make sure every T is dotted and every T is crossed and every I is dotted. And I have been encouraging black men to do that since I became a content creator. You make sure you cross every T and dot every I when it comes to driving. You're going to have to act like a professional driver, man. It is what it is. Inspect your vehicle before you get in and take off somewhere. Now, y'all, there's truck drivers, you ask them. That's part of their rules. You inspect your vehicle before you drive. And I'm saying you got to inspect your vehicle. You can't mess around and be out here with an open container of alcohol that, you know, somebody left on the seat Thursday and now you getting pulled over on Saturday. You can't let this type of stuff happen to you because it just increases your bad situations. Because they going to lean on that bottle of alcohol right now. They going to lean on that illegal amount of weed that he had. Okay? They're going to lean on that stuff. And why are they going to lean on that stuff? Because they did not establish a reason to pull him over in the first place. So if they weren't trying to kill him, what was they doing, y'all? Y'all tell me, what was they doing? Okay? They police officers trying to do their job, you know. You know, the lead attorney is talking about how brave they are. They're going after this guy, making probably about $65,000 a year. I'm not saying they ain't brave. I ain't saying that. Okay? I didn't see it. You know, because to me, brave is dealing with the actual criminals, not attacking people that's doing nothing wrong. I'm going to leave the bravery for the guys who are going after people who are criminals, or at least the people who are doing minor infractions, and then you go through the trouble of investigating because you understand any one of these guys could be a real criminal. But pulling people over without a probable cause, that sounds like picking on people to me. Now, I don't know how y'all look at this type of stuff, but I got to imagine this stuff in a real world perspective. Okay, real world perspective. You are a police officer. You're not doing your job because you're pulling people over with no probable cause. Now, if the police are not involved, what do you call people that bother other people for no reason? Y'all tell me, what is that? What do you call a person that bothers another person for no reason? What do you call those people? Is there anybody in the chat willing to put that name in there? Does anybody have an idea of what do you call people who bother people for no reason? Does anybody know what that's called? Okay. Remove the police, remove the fact that they're police officers. Okay, remove the fact that they're police officers. Okay. Shout out to OS1 Sailor Maine. Okay. Shout out to OS1 Sailor Maine. Yeah, you nailed it. We call those people bullies. Okay, that's what we call those people, bully. People who messing with people for no reason. We call them bullies. Okay? A person is literally bothering somebody because they can. Now, I want y'all to think about this situation. Why these police have police contact with this gentleman in the first place? They could. They was in a car and they could turn on the sirens to make him pull over. So they had the ability to bother him. All right? They going at him because he had a bottle of alcohol, an unopened bottle of alcohol in the vehicle. They saw that and they took advantage of that. Now, don't get it twisted, y'all. You know, I think the lead attorney meant well. And I'm not saying he was wrong in the stuff that he was saying. And I'm pretty sure he gave the police officers benefit of the doubt. I'm just making it plain that I'm not giving them benefit of the doubt. I'm not doing that. And I understand stuff could happen before the camera footage starts, so we're not privy to all information. We're only privy to the information that we get. But I am gonna say this, y'all. If he did something wrong before they stopped him, why wasn't he charged with it? That's my question. You got a black man who getting arrested. You got all these charges that you want to put on him. They got 4 charges on this guy, y'all. So how come he wasn't charged with whatever the reason is they pulled him over in the first place? Now he's saying there straight up, man, I think y'all trying to kill me. I kind of agree. Because if they wasn't trying to kill him, why they pull him over? And I'm going to say, y'all, it's far too many black men, because we should be the first one to understand the situation, that we're not viewing things in this way. If you're pulling somebody over randomly who has given you no probable cause to have police contact with them, then why would I assume you're doing anything other than trying to kill them? And see, the thing is, we will defend stuff like this for no reason. Okay? And don't get it twisted, y'all. I'm not tripping about anybody who is held accountable for the stuff that they done. I ain't tripping about any of that. What I'm pointing out today is the fact that the reason for police contact has never been established. Okay? It was never established. Okay? Shout out to Zan Farr. He said, I beat my case for weed like that. Lawyer used black card and improbable stop. I spent some money. And you know what? You probably made the right decision. Because I said earlier, any decent lawyer can make this whole thing go away, because all the charges are connected to stuff that happened after the illegal stop. Okay? There's nothing there about why he got pulled over. We didn't see it in the video. Now, I understand it's hard to catch why they pulled him over, because I do believe a lot of police officers are supposed to turn their cameras on when they're about to make contact with a person. So you wouldn't necessarily catch why they pulled him over on camera. But they never mentioned it at the car to him of why they pulled him over. They started talking to him. They saw that open container of alcohol and started leaning into that open container that they never would have saw had they not pulled him over in the first place. Okay? Now shout out to Luckman. He said, I can't put my finger on it, but I think you trying to kill me. Oh, me? Well, you know what? That's why I do believe black men need to understand certain things through the door. If they pulling you over and they ain't got no probable cause, yeah, they probably are trying to kill you. And I understand there'll be people who look at that video and they're going to brush it off because he got charged. You know? Now, me, I'm going to say, well, maybe he already heard me say that in the past. Maybe he a person who heard the Roger Report Live in the past before. I had multiple channels eliminated, but maybe he heard me explain why police pull people over. You pull them over to give them a ticket. You pull them over to take them to jail. You pull them over to beat the hell out them, or you pull them over to kill him. Well, kill them. Now, he maybe, just maybe, he heard the Roger Report Live before. And maybe his brain got to going. And he was sitting there like, well, I ain't doing nothing wrong. Why they pull me over? I know I ain't broke no traffic law. I know the car I'm driving good. You know, ain't nothing wrong with the car I'm driving. So why they pull me over? They want to take me to jail, or they want to kill me. Okay? They may want to beat the brakes off me. They may want to give me a ticket, but the fact that they didn't have a probable cause, no, they're probably trying to kill me or beat me. You know? And I know a lot of folks, you see the video and y'all believe this is some level of he brought it on himself. No, this is not a level of bringing it on yourself. This is called recognizing what your situation is. Now, I do want to also point out the fact that when he got charged, there was nothing on him about being intoxicated. Now, y'all ask yourselves, do y'all think the police officer who pulled him over without a probable cause didn't test him for alcohol? Do y'all believe that the police officers who arrested this man, who literally pulled him over without a probable cause being known, didn't test his blood alcohol level? Y'all believe they didn't do that? Because I believe they tested him. And I believe he wasn't drunk. Yeah, he had an open container of alcohol, which he shouldn't have had, because black men, we need to do things that sometimes other folks don't need to do. We need to inspect our vehicles before we get in. He should have inspected his vehicle. He should have saw that open container of alcohol and got rid of it before he started to drive. That he should have did. But you cannot figure that out until after you're pulled over. So we know he was pulled over for no reason. So at the end of the day, if a black man has been pulled over by the police for no reason at all, and he's saying, I think y'all trying to kill me, why is it not a normal thing to support that brother? I mean, even just mentally, y'all. Mentally, why wouldn't you take his side? That's what I'm saying. I watched it. I saw what they had to say. I was like, okay, they got you on an open bottle of alcohol. They got you on that one. Ain't really much you can do about that one right now. Okay. Now, shout out to Shark Sims. I'm going to say this, Shark. This where it shows no reason. When you present the video, the cops didn't even explain why they pulled the man over. And then once that you present what he got charged for, and you can see all the charges came from after the police was stopped, that's how you know there's no reason. Okay? So you say, where did it show for no reason? The charges show for no reason. He was charged for failure to comply with a police command. That happened after he was pulled over. He was charged with obstruction because he did run. That's after he was pulled over. He was charged with marijuana possession. That's after he was pulled over, because you don't know he got marijuana until he was pulled over. And he was charged for having an open container of alcohol in a vehicle. All that is after he was pulled over. Okay, all that is after he was pulled over. So no, legitimately, they had no reason to pull him over in the first place. Now again, could he have handled himself better after he was pulled over? Absolutely, he could have. He could have. But he may just simply be naive when it comes to police contact. Okay? Now, Shark, you make an interesting statement. And I'm going to say, man, brother, join the panel. Give us your side of it, man. You say, I can't logically side with stupidity. I appreciate you saying that. But what I have to look at is, what stupidity are you referring to? Because at the end of the day, they didn't charge him with anything that's connected to pulling him over in the first place. Now, he shouldn't have had an open bottle of alcohol in his car. I agree with that. But it wouldn't come up unless you pull him over. He shouldn't have had no marijuana on him. I agree with that. but that doesn't come into play until you get pulled over. Okay? Not listening to police command, even making a run for it. I'm not going to say that was the best way for that man to handle that. But that don't come into play until after he was pulled over. So I'm going to say, again, y'all, a lot of us will look at the fact that he got charged with something and we'll just throw the whole thing away mentally because we like, well, he got caught doing something wrong. Hey, if that's what you do to everybody else, understand when you get caught up in a bad situation and everybody else do the same thing to you, don't trip. This whole thing is a sham. And that's why I say with any decent lawyer, this whole thing should be thrown out because all of the problems come from after he was pulled over in the first place. But I'm going to slow down right here. We have the great Black Uru Strikes who has joined us on the panel. So I'm going to give it to him. You got it, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Roger. I hope you're doing well. Hope the folks in public chat are doing well. So, I do think the reason for the stop is of crucial importance, and it does slightly disappoint me that in the presentation of this, the lead attorney doesn't really focus on that. He just says that it's unclear why they stopped him. I do think there are some situations where, you know, maybe police, maybe you change lanes X number of times or kind of speeding up, slowing down. Your driving may appear somewhat erratic, but not necessarily a clear-cut violation of a traffic law. So I think that it is possible that you might be stopped for legitimate reasons where there isn't a clear-cut violation of a traffic law. Maybe you are driving extra slow, for example, in a particular area where the traffic is faster, and someone may think that police may rightfully think that you are somehow disabled or troubled. So I don't know if every time police stop you, it must be a clear-cut traffic violation. But I do think that's a crucial bit of information, in terms of, because that's what precipitated everything that has followed. But once it got to the point where there was open, bottles of alcohol, I mean, the logic of defending him is staying in the car. Well, I mean, you already, and he cited a Supreme Court decision to support the position that, once police see that, they are within their right to ask you to disembark the vehicle, and so that they can search it, lawfully search the vehicle. So I get your point. But you seem to be saying, or let me see if I'm clear, that whenever you're stopped by police, unless you know you have, you yourself have violated a traffic, rule or something, that you should automatically assume that the police are going to beat or kill you. Is that the argument? Because that's kind of the sort of the justification of your argument.
I'm saying if they pull you over without probable cause, the chance of them beating you or killing you went up drastically. Now, if you get pulled over with probable cause, then you understand.
Hold on with the probable cause. So hold on with the probable cause, because what they think is probable cause, what you think is probable cause. I mean, that's kind of speculative. I mean, it's like, okay, this car looks like this car that was involved in this murder. To the police, that's probable cause. To you, it's not probable cause. So probable cause takes it in a criminal direction. kind of that don't appear to necessarily apply here. I'm just focusing on just to stop being some possible traffic violation or some questionable driving that might alert police to some possible issue with disablement or whatever of the driver. Again, because we don't know why he was stopped, it does make vulnerable from the perspective of police everything that has happened afterwards. I would agree with that. But once the open alcohol thing, then you got to get out of the car. You know, the Supreme Court has determined you got to get out of the car. You got to let the police search the car. Now, the police, now a good attorney may be able to throw the whole thing out for saying that the stop was unlawful. I would agree. But once you are stopped and you got an open bottle of alcohol or whatever, you got to get out of the vehicle.
Yeah. Well, I said he didn't handle it the way I would handle it, so I definitely agree with you there. And that's why I'm saying, as black men, we gonna have to start inspecting our vehicles every time we get in the vehicle and go somewhere. It just is what it is. That bottle could have been back there, from 2 days ago, and he just forgot. We have to go through the trouble of inspecting our vehicles. It is what it is, y'all. Shout out to White Skin Man Cave, who also said he told them to put the alcohol in the trunk and he could go. Why not do that? And I am saying he probably is a person who's not very well versed in police contact. Because he definitely didn't handle it right. He could have handled this way better than what he did. But what I'm telling y'all is every black man don't necessarily go through a lot of police contact. I have. So, of course, I think about things that, or in a different way than somebody who may not have had a lot of police contact. He may have had very, very limited police contact, which is why he responded the way that he did. That could very well be the case. We all gonna be naive to something. And, just wasn't a good day for him on this particular day. But Shark, go ahead, my brother, because I'm definitely interested in what your take is on this. And y'all keep in mind, at the Roger Report Live, ain't nobody ever requiring y'all to agree. The reason for the discussion so we can have different perspectives on certain things, so we can all get a little bit better. So, Shark, you got the flow, my brother. Do what you do.
Peace, fellas. Peace. How y'all doing? What's up, Black Uru? Roger, thanks for having me up on the panel so I can speak my piece.
Go ahead, lynch this nigga. Go on, lynch him.
Right? Yeah, I'm definitely going to. First of all, he was already in the wrong because he was drinking Don Julio. We're gonna get that one out the way already, okay? Drinking Don Julio. He needs ass, right? Now, what Uru was saying is correct. Like, you don't know what their probable cause of stopping him for, right? Now, my problem is they gave you the slide card, and you didn't take the slide card. He said, "Yo, well, put it in the trunk, and you good." Anything after that is homeboy's fault. It don't matter what they pulled them over for. They gave him a slide card. Anything after that is homeboy's fault. And it behoove and cats over y'all be killing me with this police gonna kill you, police gonna kill you, police gonna kill you. Niggas will kill you before the police will kill you, right? And police ain't just walking up on a person just sitting on a bench doing nothing and just shooting them. It's always some kind of situation that spirals out of control. It's always a situation that just spirals out of control where both parties are not thinking with level heads. This boy does not have a problem. It's not that he's inexperienced with dealing with police. He's inexperienced with dealing with authoritative figures. Why in the hell would you pull off like that? I don't know if you got to that part because I came in late. But why? Can you tell me why you would speed off like that? What do you think would happen? That might get you clapped. Now, me being a New Yorker, I've walked these streets when we had stop and frisk. And you know what you do when you ain't got no gun on you and you ain't got no weed in your sock? Nigga, you stop. Yo, what's going on, officer? Oh, yeah, nah, I'm good. Oh, my ID, here you go. Yeah, I live up there. All right, bet. Oh, what you doing over here? Oh, I'm coming to see somebody, my parents, or, coming to see some chick, get me some pussy real quick. All right, bet. Got you. Going about your business. Now, they'll search you when you start acting funny. Or they not going to search you because your ass going to run because you got a gun on you. So it's no excuse. Like I said, I can't excuse stupidity. I literally can't. Like black, white, yellow, tan. I just can't. I can't give them a pass on this one, B. Like you could have got out the car, threw that in the trunk. Like, yo, thanks, officer. I apologize for doing some dumbness like that and going about your business. You know how much paperwork they got to do after shooting a nigga?
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like Roger, and again, I could be misinterpreting your argument, but to accept everything that you presented, I have to accept the premise that every time police stop you, you should assume that they're going to hurt or kill you. Because then I could almost accept, everything else that happened. Although, he could have killed another person. I think it was another black guy, right? Didn't he run into some other vehicle and I think the guy
he had an accident.
was black.
Yeah, he had an accident.
So yeah, I mean, towards the end, so he could have, in I guess trying to protect his own life, he could have possibly taken the life of another black man. So in order for me to accept all this, I have to accept this argument that, okay, police stopped me. I don't know why they stopped me, so I should assume they're going to hurt and kill me, and therefore I'm obliged to do anything possible to stay alive. Now, if I accept all that together, then I guess that would justify everything he's done. But I mean, I do think there are circumstances in which, police might stop you, where, again, it's not necessarily a clear-cut traffic violation. It could be some concern about the driver, him or herself, considering how they're driving, especially versus the regular flow of traffic, for example. Driving too slow, switching lanes quite a bit, driving fast, driving slow. They're not, I don't know, necessarily clear-cut traffic violations, but they could signal something that police might be concerned about. They might cause, uh, uh, accidents or something of that sort, or may signal some trouble with the driver, him or herself. So I don't know if I accept the premise that every time police stop you, it must be a clear-cut traffic violation. And the police did say that if you just put the stuff in the trunk, let us search the car, everything okay, put the stuff in the trunk, we'll just give you a warning. So I don't, police, I've been given traffic warnings in lieu of traffic tickets. So I can imagine maybe you have, Roger, and you have, Shark, if you've driven much. So, yeah, I mean, thus far, based on what's presented, I don't see necessarily what the police did wrong, but it would have been very helpful to know specifically why they stopped him. I don't know, and maybe because we don't necessarily see the full encounter, some parts of the beginning we don't see. I don't know if he ever asked, or does he ask? Maybe I missed it. Does he expressly ask, why did you stop me? What did I do wrong? I could have missed that.
No, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Well, that's another stupid part on his behalf.
No. I said he handled it poorly, period. The guy who got arrested, He handled it poorly, period. He could have did way better than what he did.
But Roger, that's a horrible narrative to keep pumping to black people. Is every time the police come around, you're going to get hurt because
Well,
now you got people on edge for no reason.
well, I'm not saying that that's going to be the case. I'm saying the police pull you over for one of four goals. The goal could be to give you a ticket. The goal could be to take you to jail. The goal could be to beat you real bad, and the goal could be to kill you.
No. The only goals are to give you a police pull you over. The goals are to give you a ticket or take you to jail. Everything else, they're not just gonna pull you over, rip you out the car, and beat your
Okay,
ass. That
but
I've never seen that.
I disagree. I don't think every time necessarily police pull you over is you have definitively done something wrong, or they definitively want to harm you.
No,
Again,
I
I
agree
think
with
there
you on
are
something wrong.
circumstances
You could
in
have
which
your tire could be low, and they just peep you like, yo, son, tire
exactly,
low. Pull them over, let them know.
yeah, exactly. So again, we don't know why they, and apparently, I guess he hadn't committed a clear cut traffic violation because I guess it wasn't cited towards the end. So, but that does not mean that there wasn't something going on with him that they might have, sort of said maybe we need to check it out, and make sure everything's okay. But again, because he doesn't specifically ask, they don't mention it. I guess the lead attorney didn't look into that when he presented this, which, I mean, a little higher level of scrutiny on the part of an attorney. Maybe he should have kind of looked into why, or at least what the cops put on record, because it should have been in the police report why they stopped him. That should have been in the police report.
Okay, and I'm gonna say shout out to y'all for actually giving some reason that the police may pull somebody over. Your tire could be low. You know what? Shout out to you. That's the first time I ever had a thought like that the police could pull me over to help me. Because I've never heard of that and I've never experienced that. So that's the first time I've actually had a thought where they will pull me over to help me. I am not saying that has not happened. I just never heard of it. So at least that's a nice thought to have that they might just pull me over to help.
Yo,
That's cool.
one of your headlights could be out. I got into a car accident. When I was younger, me and my man's. This is like he had his first car, and we driving, and we about to come. We coming out of turn to make that to like merge into the lane, making a left, right. So we got to cross over our lane and then merge into and turn into the left. And homeboy's coming down the block with his headlight out. Yo, we literally thought that shit was a motorcycle, and you know what happened? We got hit.
I mean, all that stuff is totally understandable. I'm just saying every time a police pull me over and I had a light that wasn't working, I got me a ticket. So I just have that experience where they pull me over
But
to help.
that's why you could get a ticket because somebody could mistake you for a motorcycle.
No. I understand getting a ticket and making sure the vehicles is up to code and all that. I ain't even tripping. But on something like that, I'm just saying I've never been pulled over and they were trying to help me, and I've just never heard of that until y'all said that idea hadn't even come into my brain. So I'm saying shout out to y'all for giving me a new idea. The
Well,
police will pull over to help
Well,
me as a black man.
he could have been driving
well,
down Cicero when they pulled him over
here's
to
the
let him know
thing.
don't be messing with them hoes.
Here's the thing, though. I mean, and this is gonna may sound a certain kind of way. Forgive me, in advance. But depending on where you live, police treat you differently. You know,
I
and
ain't hear the
whereas
fact
in the
that
city,
I don't. Let me just say
well,
this, Black Rule. I ain't hear the
yeah,
fact that I don't come from money. So yeah, I was where the poor people was.
no, yeah. Well, I mean, and sometimes it's not even just money. I mean, it's you got how they treat you in the city versus how they treat you in the suburbs versus how they treat you in rural areas. So sometimes whatever the motivation is, I guess in some areas, if there is this high motivation to issue tickets or whatever, then they're going to be somewhat predisposed to look for reasons to ticket you. In certain other areas, there's a little more customer service relationship between police uh, and citizens. So, because I've had instances where police have been helpful, and not, my wife, maybe headlight went out, told her the headlight went out, ma'am, your headlight's out, make sure you get your headlight changed, and they went on their merry way, but we're in the suburb kind of thing, so that sort of thing. In the city, maybe they respond differently. So again, I do think it's important, the point you make about why they stopped him. I do think that's important, and it could have meant something more serious than what we see presented here. But given, the particulars, the open bottle, then we discover he got marijuana, he's crashing into other drivers and running away. He definitely made this situation, could have made things tragic. It's kind of hard to watch. Yeah.
But
I want to hold up reset.
Uru, just read that super chat that Roger just got. That explains it all. We're basically giving Roger therapy right now. You know that, right?
Let me read this. Shout out to MJD. The second, he say, Roger just don't like cops. He still think about the cops that robbed him. And I'm going to say, which time? That's what I'm going to say. Which time? Are you talking about the first time they robbed him, or are you talking about the second time they robbed him? That's what I'm going to say to that.
I get it. Look, I grew up in Chicago in the 70s. I still have a little PTSD, from that early experience. I grew up in Chicago, and this was like before Harold Washington became mayor. I'll forever fondly remember the late great Harold Washington, because before he became mayor, in the 70s and coming in the early part of the 80s, man, the harassment was crazy. If you were a young black man, it was nothing where you'd be walking down the street, it's like, it was so crazy that we would actually fear walking in groups of like 3 or more of us. We knew if it was 3 or more of us walking together down the street and we saw a police car, it was a greater than 50-50 chance that they were going to pull over on us. And even you may have heard the term, jump the curb on us. And that was like literally what they would do, jump the curb on us with the car. And then they got us pent up against some building or whatever, running our pockets and our underwear, frankly. It just was a nasty, nasty scene in the 70s and 80s, early part of the 80s. So no, I get it. I know that part of white law enforcement. And when I was coming up, it was nothing but them to call you a nigger or darky or Sambo or Blackie. I mean, these were it was nothing.
They use choice words.
They try to provoke you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. I'll blow your fucking nigger head off, and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So no, I get it, Roger. I do.
Hey, well, I'm gonna say shout out to MJD, because I'm peeping game, y'all. He didn't put no laughing emoji on it. I don't know if he was joking or not, because he didn't put no laughing emoji or anything. Maybe he was just joking, maybe he wasn't, but
he was serious.
When you talk about the cops that robbed me, I'm just saying a statement that should never have to be made. The cops that robbed me. A statement that should never have to be made. But before I even say some of this other stuff, I'm going to let these other 2 guys get in. Okay? I'm going to let these other 2 guys get in. And I'm going to say this, y'all. I've literally seen police and knew they were going to pull me over or whatnot. I even told you it was a time I was on a bike, because I'm riding to work. I ain't even got no college time, but I had to be there like really early in the morning. So I had to ride a bike to make sure I can get to work on time. And I seen some cops. I was like, these guys gonna pull me over. And I knew it, and I was riding the bike. So y'all, either I'm very clairvoyant or the cops be a little out of control. I don't know which one you want to put it to, but when I can see a police officer and just a random police officer and know they're gonna come around, they're gonna turn around and they're gonna come get me, and it actually happens on multiple times. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm clairvoyant like that, because you know what I'm saying? Maybe I am, but maybe it's just happening a little too much. Okay, maybe it's happening a little too much.
Or you just look like a suspicious person and you just be in the wrong areas.
Yeah, you know what? We got a whole side of the town that looks suspicious in Chicago because, like I said, we very separated people. We got whole suspicious neighborhoods in Chicago, so I get that. But let me let these other guys get in. Shout out to the Great Black Reset and shout out to Jado. Great Black Reset, you got the flow, my brother. You got the flow, and we get Jado in right behind you.
All right, brothers, can y'all hear me? Am I coming in loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, good morning. Good morning. Leave it to Roger to try to defend the indefensible. This is crazy. I grew up in two of the worst neighborhoods in Florida. Two of the worst. And I learned what not to do more than anything. This is another case of what not to do. One, don't drop out of school. He evidently dropped out of school because his grammar is awful. See, when you drop out of school, you don't even know how to enunciate your words properly so that you can appear non-threatening. You learn how to speak on the streets. So when you start talking, it sounds stupid and it makes the cops even more suspicious. Two, what not to do. Don't put tattoos on your face and your neck. Might be an indication that you might be up to something on a regular basis. I'm just saying, most normal people don't put tattoos on their face. Just what not to do. You causing yourself more problems down the road, whether you deserve them or not, by making poor choices. Some choices stick with us forever. What not to do. When the cops give you an opportunity to get out of a ticket, hey man, just put the bottle in the trunk. Cool. Let me do that. Let me stop asking questions. Let me knock that out. What not to do. Pull off on the cops when they tell you to get out the car. What not to do. When you do get away on foot, come out of your hiding place. No, stay hidden. He got away. He just don't know what not to do, bro. This brother did so many things wrong, you can't even make this right. The cops were very friendly toward him. Hey man, you got an open container. We just want to make sure that you're all right to drive. We're going to let you go on about your way. See, if you know how to handle that situation, you'll be all right. What not to do. Have your brother and your sister on the sideline amping the cops up. That's something you don't want. Don't be on the phone telling other people your location while you're talking to the cops. It makes them nervous. Why are other people coming to the stop? What are they going to do? Do they have weapons? Are they part of what's going on here? These are things not to do. Only thing he had to do was say yes, sir, and no, sir, to every question they asked and follow directions. And he would have went home. This is a case of what not to do. Roger, please, please, please stop defending this foolishness.
What this was the perfect video. This video got everything we need from all perspectives to get into some real stuff, bro. This was 100% the right one.
But Uru and Truth, Uru and Shark is right. Depending on what neighborhood you're in, you got to know. Listen, if you street smart, you know you in the neighborhood where the cops gonna harass you. You might want to check the card before you get in it. You might want to make sure you ain't got certain things on you. But no, we have this rebellious spirit. We rebel against authority. That is part of the culture in urban Black America. Well, if you live in rebellion, you're gonna get war sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
You can't cry and complain about that.
Mm,
If
and
you
you know,
don't, if you don't trust the cops and you don't like the cops and the cops are your enemies, you got to expect your enemy to try to destroy you. That come with it.
and you know
They
what?
ain't gonna they ain't gonna stop being an authority because we don't like it. We got to get in line. That's the bottom line. So I'm gonna leave it right there. Go ahead, boss.
I'm gonna say that was good to hear you say something from that perspective. And again, this was the right video for it to come out. Jado, you got the floor, my brother. You got the floor.
Hey, what's up, fellas? Hope y'all doing good, man.
Peace, Jado.
Peace, bro. Man, I hate to go here. I hate to go here, but I gotta go. That brother was not scared whatsoever, man. I think he got off good. I think he's happy with what he received as far as the charges. This is just
Come
my guess,
on,
man. I
come on,
check.
bro. Preach.
I go with my instinct, man, and I'm usually right, man. I think the brother stassed up. He dipped and he tossed something away, and he was like, "All right, that's all they got now." So hey, I'm cool. This is just what I think. His movements within that car didn't tell me that he was scared or whatever. He was he reached around his left shoulder, looked like pretty abruptly, like not nothing crazy, but I didn't see any fear. So and I'll just say this, like with these videos, with no further context, like I don't know, I mean the film didn't start from the moment that he pulled that the guy over all the way to the end. Like it was kind of cut. So without further context, it's kind of hard. He could have very well kind of stated exactly why he pulled him over. And even if the guy disputed that or whatever, it's like the cops have the discretion. They have the authority. So it's your word against the police word, man. These people are authorized to use deadly force if needed. And I think, man, we're too casual with how we deal with these folks, man. With all these bros and just the way you talk. I think the Black Reset just said that, like just as communication with these guys is just off, man. So I don't know, man. Like as far as a code, man, we need. I suspect this brother was probably raised by a single mother. I'm pretty sure. But as far as following some code when dealing with these folks, yeah, he violated all of it. I don't feel sorry for him. He got what he got. I think he probably got off good. That's just my guess. And I'll end right there. Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, all our kids need to learn code switching. I don't care what neighborhood you come from. You need to learn code switching.
Okay, when you're in the hood, right, and the Jack Boys, and you see the Jack Boys coming around, you tuck your chain. You look them in the eye. What's up, fellas? You play it calm. Where I'm from, we would be on the corner. We see them boys rolling around. First time we see them, yo, everybody make sure y'all clean. Niggas got whatever they got on them, they go put it in the bushes, put it over somewhere. Next time they come through, everybody standing on the corner nice and calm. Hey, fellas, what y'all doing? Oh, we just standing here chilling, talking. They get out, we good. Then you got the other ones that they just looking for the guns. If he was police savvy and been around police, they ain't worried about no damn bottle and no reefer. I had to go old school with in no damn reefer. They want them pistols.
Well, I think y'all make very good points because obviously, unless which was if I believe he had a gun on him, which I don't technically believe that because I think if you get rid of the gun, you get rid of the weed too. When he got away for that momentary where they did not know where he was. Okay, if you had something like a gun on you, I understand. Okay, I get it. I'm gonna get away because I'm gonna dish this gun. Y'all may catch me, but you ain't gonna charge me with this. So okay, cool. So I understand jail's perspective on it. Now me, I'm gonna get rid of the gun and the weed if I'm caught. You know what I'm saying? I got to get rid of them both. It's just This was coming to this territory at the end of the day. And I think the guy did enough wrong stuff that it makes it easy to bypass the fact that the police had no reason to pull him over in the first place. Because yes, there could be something going on. And I think as black men, one of the very first things you should be doing when police contact is made is establishing why you were pulled over in the first place. Because I'm not saying every time you get pulled over, something bad gonna happen. But every time you get pulled over, there are goals. And you need to figure out what is the cop's goal. So why did you pull me over? I need to know why we're talking to each other so I can understand what the goal of this situation is.
Well, also we need
And
to
that's an
teach.
important point.
I'm
That's an
going to say this.
important point to make.
Go ahead. Go
Let
ahead.
me.
Go
I
ahead.
just want to make some. I just want to make some point of sort of evidence here in the context of what we're presenting. That's a very important point to make, Roger. The problem is we don't even know if that occurred here or not because we didn't see the whole encounter. So, and that's why I said to me, I was kind of bothered by the lead attorney not looking that up. In a moment, I'm placing a higher level of scrutiny on him because he's an actual attorney. And if you're going to present something involving legal matters from the perspective of an attorney, you probably should have known. You probably should know, or at least have clearly state that the police never established why he was pulled over. Now, if the lead attorney says that, then I'm looking even more suspiciously at the police. But that's not what he says. He says unclear why he was stopped, which suggests that he didn't maybe make a little extra effort to determine why he was stopped. And like I said, since there was an arrest and since there were charges, there is a police report. In that report, they are going to have to establish in that report why he was pulled over.
Right. Look, I want to say this real quick. We got to stop trying to litigate the whole situation on the side of the road. We got to stop doing that. You wait till you get to the courthouse to litigate whatever you want to litigate, because there's just this phenomenon going on where every time a cop approaches us, we're trying to litigate this thing on the side of the road. And one other thing is they're asking for a supervisor. You just asking for a second person to be against you. That's all you asking for. We gotta stop, bro. He didn't do that in this stop, but that happens a lot too in a lot of other videos. We gotta stop doing that, man.
Well, that's one of those are some of the reasons that I'm gonna be presenting some of this type of stuff, because we as black men especially need to know how to handle ourselves in when police contact comes up. Because at the end of the day, like I said, he did so much wrong in this one. You would just totally bypass the fact that the police shouldn't have been talking to him in the first place. Because he was that bad. Because at the end of the day, well, I'm going to say for me, which I believe all black men should do, at the very beginning of police contact, you need to establish why you're having a conversation with the police at all. If you pull me over, I need to know why you pull me over. I don't give you license and registration until you tell me why you pull me over. I'm not saying they don't ask for it. I literally tell them, well, I need to know why you pull me over. And I do that letting them understand, no, I don't have any license and registration to give you until you tell me why you pull me over. Go ahead, Jado. I see you unmuted and muted back. Go ahead.
Hey, Roger, I 100% agree with you. But I'm just saying, like, we need to go the next step, too, because the cop can say it's your word against his. So if he says you were driving erratically, you still got pulled over. You know what I'm saying? Or let's say, yeah, your headlight or your brake light out or something, whatever. Like I mean, that'd be a little different. You can probably actually prove that. But like I'm saying, if he said, hey, you're driving erratically, man, you're swerving a little bit, or you're driving too slow or whatever, like it's at the cop's discretion at that point. So you got to, but I agree with you though, that you do have to establish that 100%.
And I'm gonna say this: the thing about that is, whatever they pick, see now you have some movement you can go through, whether it be the side of the road or later on in the courtroom. You got some form of leverage, and you know how to approach the situation because what they say makes a difference. You know, I've talked about an issue before when a cop came at me with a gun, but the reason they eventually gave to me of why they pulled me over, they said the college report is stolen. See, that give me room on what I need to, what I can say, what I can't say, and how I'm going to apply, what I'm going to apply to this situation once I finally got them to establish why you pulled me over in the first place. You see what I'm
But
saying?
see, but you're an intelligent brother. These other brothers, like this one, got to go back to grammar school to be able to articulate any of what you're talking about, bro. And we're not dealing with the worst thing he did. The worst thing he did is living with his mama, driving his mama car, and calling his sister and his brother and having a black woman on the side of the road trying to litigate your circumstances while you getting arrested. That's the worst thing he did. That only makes it worse.
And the second thing was drinking Don Julio, like I said before.
Well, I am clearly saying he handled this poorly, y'all. I don't know what good decision he did make while this was happening. Everything he did was just kind of making things worse to a certain degree. Yeah, unless he did actually get rid of a gun or something, which we don't even
Oh,
know that he did. You know,
I'm with J though. He definitely got rid of something. You ducked off. They couldn't find you, and you came back in the clear view, calm and collected. Oh, bro, it's a treasure trove back up in the
I,
moors, bro.
I don't believe in coincidences like that, brother. I'm just saying.
now I ain't gonna lie, I did think that was the first thing that came to mind too. Did he get rid of it? You know what I'm saying? What? Because I just knew he must have been trying to get rid of a gun for all this to happen. But then when they said they caught him with the weed, I was like, why did you get rid of the weed?
Come on,
Well, I
bro.
mean, you gotta make a choice sometimes, Roger. You gotta make a
Hey,
choice.
he pulled off because he was scared to die. So you telling me he came out of hiding because he was scared to die? That don't make no sense, Roger.
No, Roger. He drove off to throw that gun away. That's the only reason why that's the only reason why I could understand him driving off like that.
Well, I'm gonna say if he drove off to get rid of a gun that he successfully got rid of, in this particular case,
He's
it
smart.
made some sense. Now they did say he had an accident. I'm gonna go back and look a little bit to see if he hit that other vehicle or because I thought they said he hit a pole. I verbally heard them say he hit a pole. Now I do
No,
know that,
he hit another car. It was another guy towards
right.
the end. He got out. The guy, yeah.
Yeah, he was like somebody hit me. So, you know, so I'm thinking, yeah, he hit that guy too. But I do want some clarification on it. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming that's what happened. And so again, that makes the situation worse. But now I wonder, I have to think, why wasn't he charged with that too? Reckless endangerment or something. You know, why wasn't he charged? If he literally hit the other guy, how come he wasn't charged with it?
See, but Roger, you got to remember too. Like these videos we getting, these are not from the PD department. Like we are getting like
No,
you
I
got
get that.
niggas that
Yeah,
yeah.
you
So
know.
like whoever was narrating that probably didn't even put. You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying. So you what you saying might be exactly right. Like they definitely might have put, but whoever did put that together, now if we got this straight from the precinct or stuff like that, then yeah, that's why I even lead attorney like. I think he does. What Uru was saying is correct. I think he do need to put a disclaimer like, "Yo, I'm only narrating this from the beginning of this video
Yeah,
to the end. I can't say what happened in the
yeah.
beginning.
Just
I'm only
based on
talking
what's
about
presented here.
yeah."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I ain't gonna criticize him because he's the person presenting. But I'm gonna say I
No,
make
I'm
it
not.
clear.
I'm not criticizing him per se. It's just that again, because he's an attorney, if you made a point of you know of the whole issue of why he was stopped. That is an important point. Because it precipitated everything that happened afterwards. So I do think it's a valid question.
That's definitely a valid question, but I mean, again, I'm not trying to pass any judgment. But was the purpose of him showing that video to get into his legal experience and bag, so to speak, or was it to just show, all right, these black folks are unruly and they just out of control? What was the purpose of it?
Oh, he just do videos like that from time to time to go over different legalese things. But I'm with Black Uru. You need to at least you need to mention the origin point of this stop or lack thereof and start from there. And it kind of throws us off as to what really happened here.
But I don't think that was his goal. I mean, but yeah, I agree, but I don't think that was his goal.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I mean, sometimes we gonna get something that some other content creator presented, but my official position is I leave the people on who just presenting the content that they got from somewhere, because them just people trying to make money. I understand that, so I don't worry about them. You know what I'm saying? And lead attorney, even though he is an attorney, he's still just a guy who presented a video. He could have. Of course, we can say he could have done better, but I don't want to position myself to be trying to criticize the lead attorney. I have no reason to get on his bad side.
Well, let me say this then, Roger, because you made some presumptions based on what's presented here. And I'm saying what's presented here might have led you to some erroneous presumption.
Well, I'm just working with the information that was given, because when I look at how the what the police said to the man while he was in the car, and then I look at what the charges ended up being, that's what I'm going off of at the end of the day. Now, if there's more information available, I wasn't aware of it. We all saw what I saw, so that's what I'm working with, and I'm making that clear that that's what I'm working with. What the charges end up being, and versus what we saw, and I'm saying based on those two things, this don't add up, and I believe any decent lawyer could get you out of this real easy. Because number one, you wasn't even charged with something about like reckless endangerment. And I know for me personally, the one of the times I got pulled over for no reason, the cop really just wanted to bribe. They was looking for drugs, didn't find no drugs. Then he kind of wanted me to bribe him, but I didn't have the money on me at the time. Okay, so it was like, cool, all right. Well, since you don't have no money on you, I got to put you under something. And the man at least made up. He at least made it up. He said something about a legal lane change. So he at least made it up to say this is why I stopped the guy. And I'm saying it, and based on this video and what the charges are, you didn't even present that. If you can't even say why you stopped the guy, to me, y'all just bogus in the first place. And just because he was bad at how to handle what the police did, to me, don't let the police off the hook. Yeah, he handled it extremely poorly, but that don't let them off the hook.
Man,
that's how I'm looking at it.
When I was young, I ain't talk back to the person with the belt, and when I'm grown, I don't talk back to the person with the gun.
And to me, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. He could have handled it way better than what he did. I'm just saying the police is wrong, and if the police officer pulled me over without a probable cause, I'm gonna assume that you are there to either beat the brakes off me or kill me, because it ain't to give me no ticket. You ain't even got no probable cause to give me a ticket.
Nah, I see. That's that post Black Lives Matter attitude right there, Roger.
Nah, this ain't got nothing to do with that phony organization.
You all from Chicago, so y'all a whole different beast.
My thing is, you got to be street savvy out here, and you got to get to the position where you're never taken to the police station in the first place. So that's why I'm saying the very first thing a brother should be asking is, why are you making police contact with me? Even if you walking in police stopping, you need to establish, why are we even having a conversation? You're my employee. You're not allowed to talk to me unless I'm breaking some rule, or I'm under the suspicion of breaking some rule. So the first thing I need to know is, what rule do you suspect that I'm breaking?
You gonna tell a nigga with a gun they ain't allowed to talk to you?
No. What I'm gonna tell a nigga with the gun is, Well, what I'm gonna ask him is, why are you stopping me in the first place? That's a simple question.
Okay, Roger, you live in Chicago, right? If if a black man in a hoodie walked up to you and it was very apparent that he had a gun and you did not have one, and he made it obvious to you that he got one and he's willing to use it, and he told you, "Hey man, shut up. You gonna keep talking?"
No, I wouldn't say to do that.
We got to treat the cops the same way, boss, because they have demonstrated they are willing to use these things.
Yes, I agree with you.
I do understand that, but because they're police officers, I do believe it is extremely important to get on record why they're making contact with you in the first place.
Well, let's do that in the courtroom.
Now,
Let's do that in the
ain't
courtroom.
no point in me dying for no reason. If you're gonna kill me, at least that people need to have enough information to
No,
do something about the
no.
fact I got killed.
I want to find out why you was willing to kill me. I don't want anybody to watch the video to find out why I died.
Well,
I don't want
no,
that.
you do wanna ask. You want to ask for several reasons. You want to ask because everything's being recorded, and so that's going to be evidence in the court case where you expressly ask that law enforcement officer, what's the purpose of this encounter? You want that on
Yeah,
record.
that's fine. Yeah,
Also,
that's fine.
that cop himself must document that he was asked. He must document that in his police report that he was asked. So no, you definitely
Absolutely.
want to put on record that you asked him why.
No,
What's the purpose of this
I'm
encounter?
with that.
Yeah.
I'm with that 100%. You asking the cop like, "Hey, why'd you stop me?" That should be basically the maximum amount of questioning you need to
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Everything else after that need to be yes sir, no
I,
sir.
Right.
What you
I
need me to
am
do?
not telling anyone to litigate on the side of the road. I'm not saying that. I just want you to have an established reason for police contact in the first place, because everything beyond that point will go in the context of what the reason was of being stopped. When that is never established, you give police too much room. That's
He,
all I'm saying.
he got the same reason all the rest of us got. He's a nigga. If you start from there, understanding you's a nigga, you might go right. See, I don't have a few nigga stops before. I don't had a few. I don't went to jail on a few nigga stops. You know what? The case always got thrown out because I talked in court. I talked in court. Hey, judge, this don't make no sense to me. The judge said, you know what? It don't make no sense to me either. And they released me. I don't have nigga stops where hey, we was in a police chase. Yeah? What kind of car was it? It was a car like this one, same color as this one. Did you get the license plate? No. Well, I don't know what I can do for you, officer. Here's my license and registration. I'm gonna answer any question you got. Yes, sir, no, sir. You know what happened? I went home. Allegedly, a car like mine got away from the police, but I can't help you with that information, sir.
I totally understand that, and for me, that's a little more than what I would even do. Because if I say, well, why'd you pull me over, and you say, well, a car like yours was reported in a robbery, I don't need to talk at that point. My thing is, now we've established why you pulled me over. Whatever investigation you're gonna do it without my help. I don't have nothing to say to you at that point, and I'm
That's
fine with
what
that.
that's what happened. I gave him my license and registration. I sat there and had a conversation with him about the car. He was impressed with it. He asked me about the young lady in the passenger seat, and they let me go. Why? Proper grammar, proper representation.
No, I get what you're saying, but my thing is, all I'm saying is, once you tell me whatever your reason it is, because like Jado said, a person could just make up a reason. You can't do that. Your reasoning gives me the ideal of how I should take this situation. And if you are literally investigating a robbery, cool. Now that we've established that, you probably want to, you got your quote unquote call to search the vehicle. You can search the vehicle and all that stuff. I don't need to help you. I'm gonna sit on the curb. I'm like, okay, well, can I sit right there, or are they gonna Sometimes they gonna put cuffs on you and tell you to stand over here. Okay, I'm gonna do all that, and I'm gonna let y'all do y'all thing without my help. And then what's probably gonna happen? You're gonna probably come back to me, take the cuffs off, and say everything's fine, and you can be on your way. I ain't even got to talk at that point because you've already established why you pulled me over. So now you got to get me on something related to the crime that you said I might be a part of. So I'm good to go on that. My thing is just get the reason established first.
No, because I definitely agree with that.
I think if this gentleman here would have had established the reason, or would at least ask for why they pulled him over, I think this stop would have just went away. I do believe that. That to me, that's a critical point, even for him. If he'd asked him why he got pulled over and they had no reason, we'd have heard them fumbling and jumbling. Plus, y'all, you don't want to give a cop 15 extra minutes to figure out why he pulled you over, especially once he know who you are. They're police officers. They gonna look at your background and know exactly what story to tell that best suits you. Why would you give a police officer that opportunity? That's why ain't no license and registration exchange until I know why you pulled me over. You don't get to know who I am. Because you can look up the owner of the vehicle. You can find that out before you pull me over. But you don't know if I'm the actual owner or not. No, you got to tell me why you pulled me over. Real talk. What I'm doing, y'all, is limiting what the police can make sense of. And I know people ain't seeing it that way, but that's what I'm actually doing. I'm limiting what story they can tell that'll make sense to other people because they don't know my background and they don't know who I am. Once you say what it is, now you are constricted with what you can say that makes sense to other people. Now, I ain't saying you can stop them from lying, but at least you can take some of the lies away. Now, if dude had a gun or something, I guess he made the right move. If he had some packs on him or something, maybe he had some packs of cocaine in the jacket pocket or something. If he got rid of all that and said, yeah, I'm just going to take this marijuana charge and be cool with that, that's one thing. But if you ain't had nothing like that on you, he just handled it poorly, period. All he had to say was, why you pull me over? Let them give him a reason, then move from there. See, a lot of times we trying to outsmart cops and you don't even need to. You just say why you pull me over and they're going to do the work for themselves. You don't need it. They'll just let you go because they know good and well they don't have no reason. And they can't come up with no reason right then and there. But if you give somebody 15 minutes to drive you to the police station, they're going to have a great reason why they pulled you over by the time they write their report up. That's all I'm saying. So you got to pick your poison. That does not mean you have to be argumentative. Like I said, y'all, if I know I'm wrong, you ain't going to get a bitter argument from me. I am yes, sir, no, sir, all day long. Now, if once we establish why I got pulled over and we got it clear that I'm in the right, I have been an absolute jerk to police officers. I have treated them extremely poorly. I have done stuff that I probably should not have done and talked to them in ways to belittle them deliberately. But I could do all that because we had already had established why they bothered me in the first place. So now I'm on their head. I'm not saying y'all should do that, but I'm saying I put myself in a position where I could even get away with embarrassing them. But until you establish why you got pulled over, it's way too much stuff up in the air, and the police got too much room. They are professionals, y'all. When you give them 20 minutes to figure out what story they want to tell, and they got your background already by the time they get you in the police station, that report gonna be glowing. Okay? They gonna be done did everything right, and they gonna be able to tell the best story possible to make sure you get thrown under the jail. These are professionals, man. They write reports all the time. Why would you give them all that room to make a great report on why you should never see the light of day again? That's all I'm saying. And that's basically what dude did. He messed up so poorly, no one's looking at the fact that there was no reason to pull him over in the first place. Nobody even asked him. Because he got charges filed against him, but there was no charge about why he was pulled over. Are we going to accept that that's an accident?
No, I'm with you.
So if he handled it right, there
Yeah,
is no
like I
case.
said, there could be legitimate reasons to pull someone over where there isn't ex, there isn't expressly a charge. Now, what's the likelihood or probability? That's going to be that's going to be environmental and situational as to where you are and what's going on around you. Because, like I say, if I'm a police officer and we're on the road and everyone's doing 60, 65, and you're doing 30, I might be inclined to pull you over. And like I said, I might do it as much as for your safety and that of the other drivers as it is me intending necessarily to cite you. So that, again, that's just kind of, but do I think that that would be the majority of instances? Probably not. Probably in most cases when I pull someone over, there's a clear cut violation of traffic law or something more serious, some warrant, some arrest warrants or some fugitive activity or something like that. But yeah, but I do think there are reasons why you might get pulled over that do not necessarily result in a citation.
Well, my thing is, even if you get into some trouble, you can get in less trouble. Because I was going to see a chick one time. One of the times I got pulled over, I'm on the expressway. So I'm doing everything right. Why? Because I know I ain't got no license.
Right?
I got pulled over for driving the speed limit, because they looking for people running drugs. That's what they was really doing. They was looking for people running drugs. So I'm going to do everything right to not draw no quote unquote attention to myself. But I still got pulled over anyway. And they probably pulled me over because I was doing the speed limit. Now, I ain't had no license at the time, and I had to deal with that later on down the road. But that's when the cop was just wanted to get the bribe off me. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't have money in my pocket. He was like, give me $200. And I would have gave him the $200 to just let me go because I'm trying to go smash anyway. You see what I'm saying? So I'd have gave him the $200. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have gave it to him just to make this whole thing go away because I know I ain't got no license. So, I couldn't bribe him right then and there. You know what I'm saying? So he say, okay, well, we gonna get you for not having a license, but then he threw the thing in there, something about lane change. I just mentioned a minute ago. You know what I'm saying? Something about lane, illegal use of lane or something. He threw something in there to say why he pulled me over. Because you can't figure I ain't got no license until after you pull me over for some illegal traffic violation.
Yeah.
I go to, you know what I'm saying? I go to court, it's thrown out. They just want me to get a license, and that's it. Now it just cost me a little time and money because I got pulled over far from home. So now I got to go back to that particular place. You know what I'm saying? I had to get my license and stuff together and all that. I had to have somebody drive me to court because I didn't have my license at the time of the court date. And I had to explain to him why I didn't have it and all this. So I had to go through some extra little stuff. But basically, they kind of let it go away. Now, it probably ended up costing me $400 total. You know what I'm saying? So I would have much rather have gave him $200 and got let go than end up paying $400 plus involving other people because I had to have somebody drive me to court and we had to go far to get to court, like hours away. You see what I'm saying? So the reason somebody making police contact with you eliminates a lot of nonsense, even if it don't go super smooth for you. But without that reasoning, you don't know where it's gonna go. And I'm just saying, look, man, this a black man, y'all. Now he may have had something on him and thrown it away. I can't say that's not the truth. That's possible because he did dip off for a minute. But other than that, I got to look at what these charges came to, and I got to look at the fact that, as far as I know, they pulled that man over for no reason. He has a legitimate right to be scared for his life. And when you get pulled over for no reason. When you get pulled over and you know you got a busted tail light, you know why you getting pulled over. There's no reason to panic. If you know you guys you don't have your registration sticker on the back of your plate or something, you know what it is. But when you get pulled over and you don't know why you're getting pulled over, I am going to say more than likely the police are there for heinous reasons. It's nothing good. You know, you trying to see if I got a warrant on me so I can go to jail. That's why you pulled me over for no reason. You pulled me over for no reason because you think I did rob some place or whatever, or I did something to somebody you know, and you think I'm the guy that did it. You are there for very terrible reason if you're pulling me over with no probable cause. Now I want to believe that somewhere somebody got pulled over because the police officer was trying to help. I do want to believe that. And I believe that's very true amongst non-black men. I think if it's a woman, sure, it's probably happened plenty of times. If it's non-black people, probably happened plenty of times. But as a black man, I am never dependent on police to have a good reason to pull me over, meaning it's going to be helpful to me. Ever. I'm never going to think, I'm never going to have that thought process. The first thing I'm going to do when I hear some lights come behind me is try to figure out what's wrong with the vehicle, because I'm going to keep my vehicle legitimate. So therefore, I don't run into these problems. Okay? I have left my vehicle sitting for a couple of weeks before, even a month before, because something was wrong. I just ain't going to drive it. That's me. I'm driving something else. This one wrong. I'm going to put this right here. It's going to be safe here. Boom. And I'm leaving it there. So I'm dead serious about people inspecting their vehicles and know what's going on. You need to know whether you're getting pulled over for a reason or not.
Let me give you all some advice. Donate to your local police department foundations. Donate to your state troopers foundations. They give you a little sticker that notes your donation. You put it on your car. Not going to have much problem of traffic issues out of police officers or troopers. I promise you. It's one of the best investments you can make. One of the best investments you can make. Every year I donate to state police, Illinois State Police, several times. Speed. Troopers see me speed, keep on going. I see that little sticker on the back of my car. I got it on the back of my car, my wife's car, my daughter's car. One of the best investments you can make.
Yeah. All right. So are you donating or you buying get out of jail free cards?
I'm making I'm making a donation to a worthy cause.
Yeah. The answer is yes.
Hey, Black Woo, if you had to guess, if you would have given advice to that young man that was pulled over in the video, you think he would take you up on that advice?
No.
I don't know that Joker. I don't. Probably not. Because see, here's the thing. You know who told me to do that? My uncle. My uncle told me to do that. Told me to do that 30-some years ago. So these are lessons that were passed, generationally. I know, I can call the chief of police of the local police department here. I've attended the CAPS meetings, so I know the lead detective as well as the police chief. So, if I have an encounter or exchange with some police, I'm naming names. And some of them have even seen me at, the meeting. So it just kind of changes your disposition with these people. And it definitely changes how they view you. But, these are kind of lessons, you get older and, they view you differently. They do view you differently, depending on where you are. You get a certain age, you get some gray in your beard, and it does influence how they view you.
Yeah, he's right. I started throwing cookouts in my neighborhood at 25 and inviting cops over and feeding.
Yep. That's why I like going to cigar lounge. I'm in there with the cops and the judges chopping it up. They like, yo, here, take my card. If you ever get in any trouble,
Mm-hmm.
as long as it ain't no craziness,
Show them this.
you could call me.
Yeah. Show them this. You'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's part of the game.
we gotta stop living in this utter defiance of law enforcement. Like just because we defy them does is it's not going to change their position. We need to learn how to make it work for us in a way. You know, the defiance only makes them target us more.
But like somebody said earlier, you 3 generations, shit, some cases 4 generations, depending on when you start the clock of baby mama raised black males, right? So, they're so far. That's why I mentioned that, my uncle communicated that to me. We've lost these lessons between and amongst men, uh, like that. And so you just got boys essentially coming out in the world, no direction at all, leadership from men from prior generations or two, and they just kind of wild out here, like real, and this to some degree seemed to be an example of that, you know. Now, if he had some on him, there was, had some serious time associated with it. I guess you kind of understand why he would make a break for it. But why you got the Don Julio in the back? That's, I mean, damn. Okay, I'm already out here dirty, right? I know I'm dirty. The fuck I can't open bottles, Zach? Man, come on, man.
And
I
Uli,
mean,
that was the
some things.
catalyst. That was the catalyst to them saying
Yes,
we might need to check your
that
car.
was a justification for the search. Yeah. So it's kind of I get you. I mean, look, everything you said, Roger, about whether it was an improper stop, is definitely a salient point. Uh, but man, everything else that happened kind of after it was preventable. Because hey, if them are bad cops, maybe this guy shot in the back. You know, it's just it's bad.
Yeah, I think he got some really good cops because back in the day, especially before these cameras, that he was a dead man.
Hmm.
They would have shot that car up and swore he tried to run him over and all this other kinds of stuff. So I am with
Oh yeah.
Roger that it doesn't let them off the hook, but these cameras we are getting better behavior out of them because cops are starting to go to prison for wrongdoing.
Hmm. Hmm. And things are being put in those union contracts directly tied with those cameras and regarding evidence and performance reviews and stuff like that. So, and which will then impact their promotional, uh, bonus and promotional schedule. So, yeah, they are being held. Now that's going to vary from police district to police district, county to county, state to state. It's going to have some differences as to how much emphasis they put on that kind of thing. But those cops, it was interesting that either those cops were decent people, relatively speaking, quote, decent, end quote, because it's relative, or they were well trained because they, none of them really put on camera anything that could be used against them, which was interesting considering that we observed several different cops over an extended period of time. I don't know if they cursed much at all. Maybe there was just a little slight swearing. Um, they didn't appear overly hostile towards him. In fact, they appear to actually make a point of conveying that they were not being hostile towards him. So they appear to be highly, either they were really nice guys, wah, 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 or they were well trained. They were well trained, well rehearsed in what to say, what not to say, and that sort of thing. And
I
that's,
think they
as
were.
you said, reset. I'm sure that's because of the camera.
Yeah, I think they were well trained, and I'm sure, and at least in a couple of their minds, like, man, I ain't trying to shoot a nigga today. I ain't,
Yeah,
like your boy
yeah,
said
just
earlier, they
trying
ain't
to get
trying to do
this
that
thing.
paperwork. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Just I don't even need these problems. All this shit. They could be marching. Outside the police station. We don't want that. Let's go home tonight. Let's have a quiet night at home.
where did Roger get off to, man?
Mhm.
I'm adding bad black gamers. No, I did just take a phone call. I did just take a phone call. Real talk, real talk. I did just have to take a phone call. But we are adding bad black gamer because he done came up. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him get the flow so he can do what he need to do with it. Go ahead, brother. How you doing?
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good afternoon, fellas. I think it's kind of funny that, but
Kind of muffled,
Yeah,
gamer.
yeah,
experience.
yeah. We heard you, then we didn't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Okay, now it's better.
Okay. What I was trying to say, I think it's funny that having a panel of black men talking about this, like we could have a PhD on getting pulled over by the police. Because I mean, we know everything else about it. Like we got all these different strategies and different things. I think that's kind of interesting, that we have this much experience with it. But it is what it is. Um, my thing is like, if you get pulled over, like I always act like I got a kilo in the back or something. I don't want them to find out about it. So I'm as nice as I possibly can be, 'cause I'm worried about other stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's how we should. I mean, there's no reason never not to get pulled over and not be nice to the cops. Like you don't need that trouble in your life. Like we don't. There's so much they can do to us with that badge and that gun and everything, and all that authority. Like we really don't need to be like like that's a battle that we can never win. Like so, it's just like I always act like even though I'm innocent, I know I act like I am dirty, and I just want to get out that situation. That's just like my mindset with it. But yeah, y'all carry on. I just want to put my little 2 cents there. That's all.
Well, I'm gonna say there is a point that we do need, as black men, we do need to know a whole lot about the law. Okay, probably more than other people. And God forbid if you need to know more than a lawyer. But there are plenty of situations that present themselves that show that you do need to kind of know more than the cops, which is crazy in itself. And my thing is my strategy is to never go to jail in the first place. That's what my strategy is, which is why for me, establishing why you've been pulled over in the first place is an extremely important thing. So if I do go quiet, we understand why I went quiet. You just told me that you pulled me over because I'm a suspect in a crime. Well, I'm just choosing my right to remain silent at that point. There's nothing else for me to have a conversation with you about. If you're gonna tell me that's why you pulled me over, that's fine. Do do your investigation that you got to do. I literally have nothing to say at this point. I'm taking the right to remain silent immediately. Because once you say you're investigating the crime, I don't need to help you convict me. It's that simple to me. I can accidentally say anything that might help you convict me. I know this is America and I know how people look at us. So therefore, I have nothing to say at that point. Now, if it's not about me committing some crime, if it's just about I did something wrong in traffic, okay, cool. Establish that. Again, I still have nothing to put. I got nothing to say. I give you my license and registration. You can go write me a ticket and we can both go on our way. Now, unfortunately, I got to pay a ticket, but I'd rather pay a ticket than go through the whole process of going to jail and going to court and all that type of stuff. I just pay the ticket because at the end of the day, it's going to end up being cheaper for me just to pay the ticket. You know, So to me, it is about how you want your life to go in these particular situations, and you got to pick and choose your battles. Am I really trying to fight a traffic stop? Not really. Truth be told, you give me a traffic stop, I'm just gonna pay it, and I ain't coming to court. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm so quick to pay a ticket so fast because I don't want to go through what I could lose trying to deal with certain stuff. I didn't got a ticket and paid the ticket before I even made it back home.
Right.
That's
I
how
don't
I'm gonna
got
do it.
that.
You
I don't
know?
got to do it. Like a lot of times, the officers don't even want to show up for their court dates. So even if they write you a ticket, you can get out of it by going to court. You know what I'm saying? And showing like whatever the day is that you fixed it, like you fixed your tail light or you fixed like your registration or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And the judge is like throw that out of court. You know what I'm saying? They ask the cop, hey, was he being like, combative, or was he just like, been civil about it? And the officer be like, yeah, he was been civil about it, so they throw the ticket out of court. So I mean, because you get a ticket on you got to pay it, though.
I
So
mean that is true. That is true. And my thing is, you can go fight that fight if you want to. For me personally, what do I know about court? If you go to court, you just that much closer to going to jail. So depending on what depending on what it is, I got to count is paying this ticket worth me not going to court. So therefore, there's no reason to even bring up jail. You know, if the ticket $100, not that I'm saying I want to give out $100, I'm probably just gonna pay the $100. Because if I go there, yeah, I can go there and try to defend myself. I can, plead non guilty. Then I got to come back and all this type of stuff. They do tickets at just the right room where it's a lot of time it's just easier to pay than deal with. Because by the time fight it, you've lost other money. How much money you gonna give up from going to work if you got a job? Okay. How much money you gonna lose from the business because you're not gonna tend to your business? You're gonna go to court instead. You got to consider all this type of stuff. If you got a job and you got paid time off, how much of your paid time off you gonna use to go fight tickets at court? I think they do the system a very appropriate way to make it easy for you just to pay than deal with the fight.
what's the extra tax? It's like
It
that's
is.
not like revenue by writing tickets and parking tickets and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can tell you, like in DC, like they make over almost like $1 billion a year just off traffic light tickets. You know what I'm saying? Whether that's constitutional or not, I don't know. But like that's so a lot of times they just out there making revenue, especially around the New Year or
Yeah.
like holidays and stuff like that.
It's the right amount of money where it's like you might as well just give it to them. Because if I don't give it to them, look what it's going to cost me. Now, I don't think that was this particular gentleman's situation. I think he handled this extremely poorly. For you to call a woman who is not a lawyer. Now, if you was calling a lawyer, I understand. Okay. If you got a defense attorney on the phone or maybe an attorney in another type of law, if you call him a lawyer, I get it. That man did call his sister, though. You know what I'm saying? That should be an embarrassment in itself that he called his sister. I'm going to say that. He should be embarrassed about the fact that he called his sister. Now, if he called a man, he might have been told much better advice. And I do think what a man would have done, okay? And I'm saying you got to have sensible men out here, not young folks who ain't really learned the game yet, because a dude did show up with the sister, say that's his brother, but he seemed a little young. As a man, if you call me and you telling me the police are with you, the first thing I'm gonna ask is why they pulled you over. That's just a natural thing for me at this point. And I think that would be the natural thing for a person who wasn't there. Well, what you get pulled over for? Because they're trying to figure out the context of the situation. So had he called a man, I think anybody would just say, I don't think you got to have police contact, anything like that, just so you can understand the situation. I think the natural question is, well, why'd you get pulled over? Now you would have asked him that, and he'd have been like, "Well, I don't know why I got pulled over. Excuse me, why y'all pull me over?" And now this immediately goes totally different because they got to have a reason to give. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, they can go in a dummy direction and say, "Wait, we ain't got to discuss all that right now." They could do all that, but that's now you start. If they're on camera, now they start to incriminate themselves if they go in that direction. But I think any reasonable person who's not there because they just have ignorance of the situation, the natural question would be, well, why did you get pulled over? What happened? You know, somebody gonna say, what happened? No, I was driving and the police pulled me over. Okay, why they pull you over? Excuse me, officer, why did y'all pull me over? See, now everything just changed that quickly. Now him calling a woman that didn't ask none of that, or hopefully she did, and I just didn't hear it. You know, there was a lot of talking at the time. Maybe she did ask it, and I just didn't catch the fact that she asked it.
I mean, they were asking why. I guess where he was arrested. I don't know if they thought specifically to ask why he, why they pulled him over. I don't know if they expressly asked him that, but they appear to be asking questions related to, why was he, why was he captured, why was he arrested, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying that needed to come at when they made the phone call. When you first call someone, if somebody's calling you saying the police are here talking to me, then you need to understand exactly why the police talking to you before you can give any real advice that's going to be helpful. I got to understand what your situation is to give you something that's going to help you with the situation. So that's why I'm saying the natural thing to do would be to get to why they pull you over. What was you doing? They ain't got to say it like that, but what were you doing? You establish something. Now, I'm not saying people should necessarily say it that way because you technically, if somebody is committing the crime, you're asking them to admit to the crime that they was doing at that particular time. But I'm gonna say in that scenario, you shouldn't be calling nobody in the first place. If you know you guilty, why are you calling somebody who, and you got to answer that in front of the police? So it does make a difference on how you're moving. But if you innocent, what's the big deal? Yeah. Now, I was finna read something, but it like it's between somebody. Okay. So no, I'm gonna leave that alone. Okay. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, leave that alone.
I gotta see. Yeah, a little too much going on down there. I thought it was all right. Well, we gonna skip right on past that. But y'all, I think, like I said, this video was good because the guy did enough wrong stuff that you could understand why everybody just brushed past why the police contact was made in the first place. And I'm not saying we should be rebellious or anything like that, but I am saying, as a black man, the very first thing you need to do is establish why you're making police contact in the first place, because it will have a lot to do with your outcome 9 times out of 10. Why is the police
Well,
contact
also that's
coming up?
usually the best time to catch. That's usually the best time to catch the police in a lie, or have them present something that isn't necessarily scripted for the benefit of the state. Because once the whole thing's blown up and it gets back and the captain or whatever, then everything is getting kind of massaged in a way to protect the interests of that officer in general and the police officer in particular, as well as the state, in general. But if you ask them, but the response that that officer may give in that moment is more likely to be authentic and thus more likely to be to the potential benefit of, to your benefit. they're more likely to say some shit that their boss would have rather them not say. Put it that way.
And that's a good way for the whole thing to simply go away. Or for them to just say you was doing something, we gave them a warning. Because a warning is not something going against your record. You know, and I'm gonna say that, and I don't know who wouldn't have it nowadays, because I believe it's basically standard at this point. But even if it's not, you know, if the police officer asks you to get out the car, you get out the car, you close the door immediately behind you, and you lock them. Okay, you do it in basically as best you can do it in one motion. You know what I'm saying? So pulling me out the car is one thing. Now I'm gonna say it wouldn't have helped this guy in this particular case, because you don't want your vehicle searched. But y'all keep in mind, in this particular case, he had an open bottle of alcohol, so they could search his car. He already gave them permission to search his car. And that's something black men need to understand. When you make certain moves, you're giving them permission to do this and that. That's why if I have a vehicle and that vehicle is not right, I'm just gonna go park that vehicle until I get that vehicle right. It's that simple at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. If you're gonna make moves, put it that way, it's probably a good idea to keep a pretty clean vehicle in general. You probably should make a policy. If you're gonna be making moves,
and matter of fact,
or if you're around other people who be making moves.
Yeah, that you know, don't take the whole crew down. And I want to say too, because Jado said, he asked Black Uru earlier, do he think the gentleman that was driving the vehicle would have took Black Uru's advice? And I think Black Uru gave some pretty good advice. You know, if you give some donations so you can get some stickers. I mean, if you can get some stickers just to not be bothered, I mean, you only got so much time in your life, so don't sound like a bad idea to me. But I'm gonna say, for not that I really expect a criminal to be listening to this channel, but if you were really a criminal and you really doing illegal stuff, why wouldn't you pay some donations so police will leave you alone? I think y'all need to do it more than anybody need to do it.
It's interesting. It's interesting. They really appreciate that. They do. They really appreciate that. I was surprised by how much they appreciate that.
Well, my thing is, if you're an actual criminal, ain't the code to keep the target off your back?
Right.
So if I could just give a police donation from time to time, which I have people looking in my car and then just letting me go, to me that sounds like the right move to make. If I'm gonna be involved in criminal activity, I need to donate to the police.
Roger, that dude that pulled you over, he really wanted that $200 when you have your driver's license.
No, he absolutely did. I think because of where I was, it was a route that people take. You know, they were always worrying about people running drugs down to the colleges where I was headed to at that particular time. And he made it clear to me that all I got to do is give me $200 and we can make this go away. Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. So now I know I ain't had no good license at the time.
You like one of the boys. You like one of the boys.
Roger fit the profile on the highway, riding a bike, walking. You might need a new haircut, Roger. A new haircut and a new wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. That's why when people say stuff about you know, you can dress your way away from this problem, I'd be like, not that I can tell. How you present yourself is gonna make a difference. Yeah, maybe slightly. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't no telling what I done got messed with in all kinds of scenarios. All kinds. Because yes, have I been bothered for walking? Yes. I've been bothered on a bike? Yes. I've been bothered driving a car? Yes. You know what I'm saying? I done been, I've been messed with in professional vehicles and personal vehicles. So I don't know how I can't tell you how not to get pulled over. I clearly don't know how not to get pulled over. You know?
I was not saying that they won't pull you over. I'm saying the
Hey,
outcome will be better.
hey, Roger, I think you need to take Black Uru's advice. You got that stick on your car, bruh?
I was just going to say that I think that's going to have to be my new motion right there. Yeah.
I'm a
You add
proud
things to your repertoire, you
contributor
know?
to CPD, foundation. I'm a proud contributor.
Yeah, because I clearly don't know how to not get pulled over. My thing though is you got a better chance of when you don't go to jail than when you do go to jail. Once you go to jail, it's too many other people involved, and now you at the mercy of other folk, and that's just real talk. You literally have you have a lot less control once you get taken down to jail. Okay, when they start processing you, your control is a lot less at that point. And so my thing is just don't go to jail in the first place. You know, and I know a lot of dumb people say, well, just don't do nothing wrong. No, you can go to jail for not doing anything wrong. I done been to jail plenty of times, ain't did nothing wrong. So doing wrong ain't got nothing to do with it. It's about how you handle yourself when you deal with police contact. And at the end of the day, you need to start making moves that are advantageous to you. And I think black men we need to have some better discussions on what's the advantageous thing for you to do in a particular scenario. Because, we know about the quote unquote the talk. You know what I'm saying? Most fathers gonna have a talk with their son when they come of age anyway about how to operate with police at least a little bit. But we gotta start becoming more in depth. And like I said, to me, this particular video was a perfect one to use because it's clear the dude did so much wrong that it's easy to brush past the fact that they never gave a reason why they should have been talking to him in the first place. Yeah. So my thing is, why have police a contact and not know why you had it in the beginning? It's so many
But
people that had stuff thrown out because they could not establish the reason for police contact.
can we avoid okay, let's just say you're 100% correct. There's nothing he could have done to avoid the police contact in the first place, correct?
Not necessarily, because it seemed like they put him over with no probable cause. So I don't believe he could have.
Yeah, so I'm agreeing with you there. What I'm saying is that like our behavior and our presentation matters at that point a great deal as to how the outcome is gonna be at that stop. The way we speak, the way we carry ourselves, the way we look. It's just like going to a job interview.
Well,
Well,
I will say this, Roger. Had they pulled him over, and it was clear he was, first of all, obviously no loose bottles of alcohol or whatever in the car. They pull him over. The car is clean. He expressly asked them why they pull him over, and they try to give him some bullshit. He reinforces that, well, but technically you don't have any justification for pulling me over, or you haven't cited any justification for pulling me over. So I really believe you should just let me be on my way. I think you would then put them in a position where they have to let him go, because then anything at that point, it's clear he know what his rights are. It's clear to them that he knows what his rights are, and then anything that they do beyond that point is really going to be on them. But because of his disorganization, it made it easier to sort of remove from them the greater scrutiny that would be placed on them because of his own disorganization. So kind of to the point where you're saying reset. I mean, and again, if we're not going to be raising young black men, then they're not going to be getting these lessons, right? And they're not going to be raised with a sober mind because you
Right.
also, it's not just what you know, it's also your ability to recall things in a calm and cogent way. And you get the impression that even if he knew right, he didn't appear to necessarily be capable of doing that, which I guess kind of goes back to, Jado's point about the sticker, and that is, if you gave him this recommendation, would he follow it? Perhaps not, unfortunately, because, based on the little thing, what little we've observed of him, it's like he appeared to be sort of disorganized, organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to get away from white supremacy. We're not going to get away from cops being cops, but we can at least mitigate these circumstances a great deal in the way that we present ourselves.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say, like, even for me, who the time I was pulled over and the cop just instantly come to the window with the gun on me. The only thing I did was ask why you pulled me over. He kept yelling to get out the car. He wasn't saying it nicely either. Okay. And he had a gun on me. And a lot of people I've told that story to, and when I gave them the real in-depth story about what happened, a lot of them say, well, you should have just cooperated. And they say stuff like, well, they could have just shot you. I don't have no control over that. The only thing I'm trying to do is, at the very least, you gonna shoot me while I'm sitting down. I'm not in an aggressor's position, and you don't have nothing on me at the time where you can say that I was doing anything wrong. But I'm not telling you who I am until you tell me what the probable cause is. And I'm not saying that's a whole lot of power. But what you are indicating to the police is that you've been trained in something. Because now, when the police see that you refuse to even give who you are without them establishing the probable cause, now they have to question, who are you and who do you know? And if you're not going to even make them question that, your situation can go a whole lot worse. I am not saying I can save you with this advice, but if you're going to kill me, at least allow my family to get some millions of dollars because they can prove I got killed for an illegitimate reason.
So
Why die
Roger,
for free?
so Roger, you like that guy in the middle society? Like, I'm not going out like that.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there is a legitimate question you have to ask yourself, because you can't stop them from just doing what they want to do when they want to do it. But why die for free? If I'm gonna get killed in some a traffic stop that quote unquote went wrong, at least put your family in position to get $30 million. Why have the traffic stop go wrong? You get killed, you dead, and your family trying to put up a GoFundMe trying to bury you, and ain't gonna be no compensation whatsoever. At least pay my family. If I couldn't do nothing else for them, at least I can get them into the upper class. I don't want to sacrifice myself to do it, but if I got to die, at least let my sisters get some money. At least let my brothers get some money. At least let my daddy get some money. At least let my mama get some money. I mean, if we ain't doing that, why am I just dying? I don't want to die for free. If I got to die in some bogus way, I don't want to do it for free. That's all I'm saying. But I'm gonna go ahead and get a mic to I feel like who just joined us, even though the show is almost over. But since he just joined us, hey, it is what it is. What you got for us, brother? Or maybe you was coming for after show. That's possible. You was coming for after show. You just early for the after show.
Nah, let me put some salt on this nigga.
Okay.
That's a dumb nigga, first and foremost. There's absolutely no reason for the situation to deteriorate to that degree. I got pulled over by police at least twice. First time was for speeding. The other time I don't remember. I got off easy. with a warning. It just gave me two warnings, and that's it. Another time, I got handcuffs because they thought I was somebody else. They thought I was somebody else doing something that I had no business doing. So they put handcuffs on me. And after I explained the situation, 15 minutes later, they had to let me go. But I know that they were looking for stuff. They were looking for a reason to lock me up for good, but they couldn't. Because every paper that they asked me, I had available right then and there. I, so they couldn't hold me for, for nothing. So that, I guess, that's how you handle these encounters. And I remember during that encounter, everything that all my response and answers were very short, cordial, and accompanied by a yes sir or no sir. Okay, I'm not trying to give you any ammunition to keep me because obviously you have no reason to keep me in the first place. So if I act a fool, now I look stupid like this Negro over there.
Now I want to clear up something. Shout out to Mr. Suge to you. I mean, it's your own people that do you in sometimes, y'all. He part of the pit crew, and he coming at me. He say, "Hold on now, Raj. You are reneging on one of your own quotes. A dead man can't tell his side of the story. Best course of action is survive the situation and fight in court." I am not reneging on that at all. What I am saying is, if they was gonna kill you, they was gonna kill you anyway. You at least want the kill to be something that your family could sue for. Because as I was saying, when a guy asked me, well, when he told me to get out of the car with a gun pointed at my face, I still didn't cooperate with him. I said, why you pull me over? And the more he told me to get out the car with a gun pointing at my face, the more I told him why he pulled me over. Because at the end of the day, no, I'm not reneging. What I'm saying is, let's say he shot me right then and there. I ain't had nothing on me. I was good. I was 100% clean. I ain't had no gun. I ain't had no drugs. The car was good. Everything was up to par. Okay. A vehicle I owned that I paid for in cash. At the very least, what I'm saying is my family could have sued the police for a wrongful death. Because I believe it was the time. I said I don't think we had the I think that was when they had the dash cam. So the only thing you would have been able to see was me being pulled over, police talking to me. You'd have seen the gun shoot me, and I'm sitting down in the driver's seat. You wouldn't have seen nothing else. And now if you look at the car, unless they do something illegal, now unfortunately, the Chicago Police Department has a very dirty reputation across this country. But if they were not able to doctor anything and pretend like I had something on me, then at least my family wouldn't have got paid. I'm not saying I would have changed anything. I'm just saying in that situation, my family would have got paid because they would have just simply shot a guy who literally didn't have anything on him.
So Roger, you talk to your family about this. That in the instance that I get shot by the police, that they supposed to go to sue them for me, right? You
No,
know what
at
I'm saying?
that point, I hadn't talked to him at all because I was rather young at that point. So no, I hadn't had no real conversation about stuff like that. Not at that point. But the thing is, how you want to die? Because I'm gonna say this: had they killed a guy in this video, everybody would have pretty much let it go. Look how he
I don't know.
acted. We'd have let it
I don't
go.
know about. I don't know about you, but I want to die home sleeping in my bed. That's my preference.
Well, I'm not saying somebody should want to die at the hand of the police, but what I am saying is, had the guy in this video got killed that night, who would have fought for him? Everybody would have looked at this and be like, "Oh, he had marijuana on him. He did this. He ran off from the cops for no reason." A lot of folks would have been like, "I'm glad he did."
They was putting some crack on them too.
Well, that would have made it that surely would have made it easy for the cops to make him look bad. They'd pull up his Facebook page, Twitter account, and find all the worst pictures of presenting him on the news and all that other kinds of stuff. Because that's what they do. That's why, the Bible calls us to live our life to be blameless, so that they can't do that to us.
I mean, they always do that. Like no matter what, like even when they put knee on that dude's neck on Floyd, they try to say that well he stole something early, like $20, so he gave out fake bills or something else. They always try to dirty the
And,
thing about the
and that's what I'm
Yeah.
also saying. You can't stop them from killing you, per se. The only thing you can do is make it a easy kill for them to get away with, or you can make it a hard kill for them to get away with. That's it. You can't stop them from doing it because they licensed, they got the guns, they got society behind them in the first place, and you are a black man. A lot of white folks, before the facts even come out, they're gonna be like, I'm glad that nigga dead anyway. We didn't need that nigga out here. That nigga was gonna eventually kill one of us. So you
Yeah.
already gonna have that pour in, and then every justifiable thing they come up with, they just gonna add to it.
They would have called Kunde once and asked her to run a hit piece on you.
Mm.
Found out the last time, found out that you were facing in plastic bottles when you were 15 years old.
I mean, ain't no telling how far they gonna dig deep on you. So at the end of the day, none of us want to just get shot at random by police. But the only thing you really have at that point, is it an easy kill for them to get away with, or are you gonna make it a tough kill for them to get away with? And as I've said before, sometimes in life you ain't got nothing but bad choices in front of you. You still got to make the best one you can. But we are at the 3-hour mark, so I'm finna close this one down. I think it was a good discussion because, like I said, this stuff needs to be talked about. And one of y'all brought up a good point. If you ain't got fathers in the home, we ain't even getting the police talks nowadays, y'all. We got these boys coming up out here and they ain't even get the police talk that a father would normally tell his black son. They not even getting that. They out here with nothing. So we definitely gonna need to discuss things like this in the future. And I thought this was a great video to do it up with because there is so much you can say about the man in the incident, and then there's so much stuff you can say about the cops. Because at the end of the day, even though these cops, quote unquote, came out well in the video, the fact that they had no reason to pull them over in the first place, they look like dirty cops to me. They look extremely dirty and dangerous to me. Yeah, all that being polite, that sound good when you pull somebody over with a probable cause, but the fact that they ain't have one, they just some dirty mofos at the end of the day. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Black Ooh, any last words you got on this one?
Again, I wish we'd known more. If there had been a police report actually done. Well, there should have been a police report. If we could have gotten access to that, it may have been a little. It would have been interesting to know how they document the whole exchange, and so we'd be able to make a more complete assessment of what happened. So that's the only thing that kind of leaves open to me some parts of what happened.
All right, Shark Sims, any last word?
Y'all niggas is lucky I'm not police. Lucky. You're lucky.
I'm putting cases.
This guy going full 5-0 on us, man.
Boy. Yo,
By
to
the
be the
time
first
I'm
one I'm
through with
coming for,
y'all,
Roger.
y'all gonna be doing podcasts from Pelican Bay.
Yeah, I'm putting cases on all you niggas.
Oh, you niggas.
All right, the Great Black Reset. Any last words from you?
Yeah, I think we got to do better. I think we got to get back to where our presentation matters, the way we present ourselves, the things that we have with us, and this defiance that we're living in and this rebellion to authority is causing more trouble than anything. And I think we need to change that.
Okay. Okay, Jado. Any last words from you?
I'll just say, If out of the kindness of your heart, if you see a young black man that's misguided, maybe brought up in a single mother home, that's if you find it in the kindness. If you want to give charity, as Roger would say, school them, man. Maybe give them that advice that Black Uwu just gave. Maybe you can give him that type of advice. The thing that Roger is saying, hey man, establish the reason why you're making contact, and just talk in a in a ordered, and I guess I want to say professional manner, but an ordered manner when you're dealing with these police officers. And I'll end right there. Thanks for having me up.
I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Bad Black Gamer. And matter of fact, Jado, I want to say something to you after the show too. Bad Black Gamer, any last words from you, my brother?
I'm just going to suggest that y'all all donate to your local law enforcement officers. Get some officer stickers you can put on the back of your vehicle. That way you can ride dirty all day. Nah, I'm probably going to do this anyway, though, but yeah, good topic.
Well, I'm gonna say if you really out there riding dirty, it's probably your responsibility to donate to them. I mean, real talk. It don't make no sense not to. And I ain't encourage anybody to ride dirty, but if you gonna do it, it don't make sense not to donate. Okay. I feel like any last words from you on this one?
I mean, I'll say don't be a stupid, ignorant nigga, and don't be a sucker out here, man.
All right. Shout out to my main man, Gold P. Don't be no sucker. I hear y'all. And hey, don't be no sucker when it comes to the police, y'all. All I'm saying is, if you gonna convict me, I'm at least make you work for it. That's all I'm saying, y'all. If you gonna convict me, I'ma at least make you work for it. I ain't giving it to you. And that's just real talk. I ain't giving it to you. So do what y'all can to help yourselves with this information. I'm gonna say shout out to the lead attorney. I think this was a great video for us to get into a lot of different things. I think this was an excellent show. Share it with some young folks, y'all. Tell them, look, if you're gonna be driving, you need to check this one out. You're gonna be out here hanging out at night, you need to check this one out. You got kids 14, 15, 16 years old. They need to be prepared on what the world got waiting on them at the end of the day. And they need to see somebody who act a complete fool or not in the best way and say, no, don't be like that guy. Don't be like that guy. And I'll cover some more of this stuff too, y'all, because there's real things we need to talk about as black men, and there's definitely some things we need to present to our black boys. Because if we don't do it, we can't depend on anybody else to do it. And that's sad, but it's real. So y'all have a good rest of y'all day. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that. Make sure you like the video, hype the video, leave some comments after the stream. We will see y'all next time around. 9 a.m. Chicago time, not where you happen to live. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.